Chapter 4039. Damn it, what kind of monster is this? Xianxia suppressed the fear in his heart and quietly flew into the sky. When Ao Shang and Ao Zhan saw Long Si flying out, they had already flown in another direction. Xianxia finally managed to catch up with them. Ao Shang didn't have time to ask Xianxia how he came to the turning dragon platform. He only said with lingering fear, "This Long Si is from the dragon realm. It was originally the food of the dragon race in the dragon realm. Who knows how it came to the stacked jade legacy realm? Damn it, how can the dragon race of the dragon island deal with something from the dragon realm? Run, hide, wait until the stacked jade legacy realm closes, then we will have a chance to survive." Gee. Just as Ao Shang was reminding them, a sound that caused Ao Zhan and Ao Shang's dragon chi to tremble came from the space above their heads. Long Si, who had sucked the brains of dozens of giant dragons in an instant, chased after them again. Ao Shang and Ao Zhan's bloodline was pure. They didn't go limp because of Long Si's cry, but the other dozens of dragons and humans couldn't do the same. Their bodies trembled and fell from the sky. However, Long Si seemed to be more interested in the pure-blooded Ao Shang and Ao Zhan. It didn't care about the dragons at all. What was special was that Long Si's gray eyes were also looking at Xianxia. Not good. This guy seems to have found my dragon vein. What should I do? Xianxia saw Long Si looking at him. He couldn't help but be shocked. He then looked at Ao Shang and Ao Zhan. They were all afraid. He knew that the two dragons couldn't win against Long Si, this natural enemy, and he was afraid that only the great elder of the Dragon Hall could win. He quickly thought in his heart, I wonder if the great elder of the Dragon Hall can fight against Long Si? If he... Woo! At this critical moment, the sound of wind whistling came from the sky again. Along with the whistling of the wind, thousands of clouds rolled, and the scenery on the ground began to blur. Under the power of heaven and earth, even the powerful Long Si couldn't help but be swept up by the hurricane. Oh my god! The changes in the scenery are just too awesome. Xianxia hated the scenery of the stacked jade legacy realm, but now, he almost wanted to hug the crystal and kiss it a few times. The hurricane that changed the scenery was so big that it seemed to blow away everything in the world. Xianxia, who had just survived a calamity, danced with the wind in midair. Woo! After a while, a huge wind whistled over Xiaohua's head, and the huge turning dragon platform floated away like a bullet in the hurricane. Xiaohua's heart skipped a beat. He hurriedly raised his hand and hugged the tumbling dragon platform. His entire body followed along. The changes in the scenery of the entire stacked jade legacy realm continued for a few hours. Only when Xianxia rolled along with the tumbling dragon platform did the entire process come to a complete stop. Phew! Xianxia drilled out of the mountain rocks below the somersault dragon platform with great difficulty. He patted the dust off his body and let out a long sigh of relief. Just as he was about to look around, his forehead felt cold. When Xianxia raised his head to look, he saw that the entire sky was covered in red clouds. Snowflakes that were like goose feathers floated out from these red clouds and began to cover the entire realm of stacking jade. The 4 seasons change. Xianxia smiled. I thought that it would start from spring. I didn't expect it to start from winter. In any case, since the 4 seasons have started to change, it's not too late for the realm of stacking jade to close. I can finally escape from Long Si's strangulation. Ha! This turning dragon platform. At this moment, how could Xianxia still be thinking about the dragon cleansing pool? He was already lucky to be able to escape from Long Si's hands. However, he inadvertently discovered that the huge turning dragon platform was strangely rolling towards the top of a mountain. This is 3 dragons playing with a pearl? Xianxia looked at the place where the turning dragon platform was rolling up and hurriedly flew up. When he saw the 3 mountain ranges that were like 3 huge dragons crawling on the ground, Xiaohua's heart suddenly jumped. A kind of ecstasy surged in his heart. 3 dragons playing with a pearl. The 4 seasons change. What about the 2 mountains beside the stream? Xianxia hurriedly looked around, but he didn't see any other mountain ranges nearby. Creak, creak. The turning dragon platform that had absorbed the blood essence of the dragon clan slowly rolled up the mountain, emitting an ear-piercing noise. Xianxia looked at it for a moment and thoughtfully waited in the air. Another hour passed. The turning dragon platform was like a dragon pearl that had stopped at the peak of the mountain, and the ground was covered with rare snowflakes. Roar! 3 faint dragon roars came from below the 3 mountain ranges. The ground shook slightly. The 3 mountain ranges trembled like huge dragons playing with a pearl. The turning dragon platform bounced up into the air, giving rise to waves of fluctuations. Dragon vein. Xiao Hua's eyes lit up, as if he had thought of something again. When the somersaulting dragon platform fell, a spatial crack appeared high up in the sky where the impact of the fluctuation was. 2 cracks in the shape of mountains appeared out of thin air. Walala! There was the sound of water, and a clear stream flowed out from the spatial crack. Beside the stream, outside the 2 mountains, 3 dragons playing with a pearl, the 4 seasons change. Xiao Hua laughed heartily as he flew towards the turning dragon platform. At this moment, how could he not know that the dragon cleansing pool was not within the realm of stacking jade, but within the spatial interlayer of the realm of stacking jade? Moreover, every time the realm of stacking jade opened, the dragon cleansing pool might not necessarily appear. Only when the turning dragon platform fell here, would the dragon cleansing pool appear. Therefore, Xiao Hua finally understood that even the great elder of the dragon palace didn't know where the dragon cleansing pool was. However, the direction Xiao Hua was flying towards was different from the dragon cleansing pool. His figure landed on the turning dragon platform. He looked at the turning dragon platform that was no longer fluctuating, then looked at the 3 dragon veins in the 3 mountain ranges. He hesitantly pinched his chin and pondered, "Motherfucker, isn't this Xiao being a little insincere? Humph, what insincere? These dragon veins are ownerless items. Moreover, the realm of stacking jade is full of draconic energy. It won't take long for another dragon vein to appear. Moreover, the Dragon Island hasn't found the dragon cleansing pool for so many years. Isn't it not a big deal to them?" Thinking about this, Xiao Hua's figure fell into the mountain range and released the dragon vein Xiao Hua. The dragon vein Xiao Hua roared and pounced into the realm of stacking jade. It swallowed the dragon veins that had been growing for God knows how many years. Of course, Xiao Hua didn't kill them all. Instead, he left a tail for each of the dragon veins. Presumably, it won't take long for another dragon vein to appear. Of course, when Xiao Hua swallowed the dragon veins, he cautiously looked at the spatial crack and the gurgling stream. Only when he saw that there weren't any special changes did he relax. After swallowing the dragon veins, Xiao Hua stored them away. Xiao Hua flew towards the spatial crack that looked like 2 mountain peaks. Xiao Hua's figure landed in the space crack. Before he could see the situation in the space clearly, the roars of 10,000 dragons surged over like surging waves. These dragon roars were different from what Xiao Hua usually heard. Some were weeping, some were wailing, some were moaning, some were laughing, and some were whispering. When every sound fell into Xiao Hua's ears, the dragon vein in Xiao Hua's physical body would tremble. An incomparably solemn and dignified aura of heaven and earth, and a strict aura of order assaulted his senses. This aura was 100 times more intense than the black and white runes that Xiao Hua faced earlier. This seems to be the myriad dragon country. It seems to contain the profound mysteries of the dragon race's initial establishment, reproduction, and extinction. Dragon vein Xiao Hua whispered from the bottom of his heart, "There's no need for any dragon jade. As long as I can understand these sounds, I can step into the dragon domain." Not only that, the scholarly cultivator Xiao Hua, whose freedom had been restricted and who hadn't said a single word, suddenly opened his mouth. This young one has already sensed the boundless vitality within, the power to regenerate all living things. This must be the dragon cleansing pool. See. Xiao Hua suppressed the excitement in his heart and entered the spatial crack. At a glance, he saw the dragon cleansing pool that he had yearned for even in his dreams. Xiao Hua couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. He saw that this was a space filled with lightning. Countless purple lightning bolts appeared out of thin air and fell into a pool of water that was 1,000 li in size. This pool wasn't an ordinary circular pool, nor was it on the ground. Instead, it stood in the spatial crack in the shape of a dragon. Inside the pool, a pool of light purple liquid was rippling like water. From a gap at the end of the pool, a small stream was gurgling out. This stream was originally as thin as a chopstick, but after leaving the pool, it immediately swelled up and became like an ordinary stream. Moreover, this stream grew larger and larger. After flowing for a few li, it completely disappeared and evaporated into the spatial crack. This is the dragon cleansing pool. Xiao Hua looked inside the spatial crack. Apart from the lightning, there was nothing else. He was somewhat puzzled. After closing his eyes, he opened his Delirium Breaker Dharma Eye. In the Delirium Breaker Dharma Eye, an enormous dragon shape that was several times more dazzling than an ordinary sun coiled in the spatial crack. Xianxia resisted the discomfort caused by the Delirium Breaker Dharma Eye and carefully observed it. This dragon shape looked similar to an ordinary dragon, but on the surface of the dragon shape, every dragon scale had millions of mysterious dragon patterns. Moreover, every trace of the dragon pattern gave off a fine light. Within the fine light, there were even finer lightning bolts. Tens of thousands of dragon scales gathered together to form an unparalleled dragon might. This dragon might was like a mountain, like the sun and the moon, like the heavens and the earth. Xianxia almost couldn't see the entire dragon shape clearly. That glaring purple flame had already forced him to close his Delirium Breaker Dharma Eye. After closing his Dharma Eye, he saw the dragon cleansing pool again. He couldn't see the profoundness inside. Xianxia was enlightened once again. The dragon cleansing pool was not created by man but by nature. The Delusion Breaker Dharma Eye was the key to the creation of the dragon cleansing pool. The dragon carvings on the dragon's shape were the work of the gods. The carvings on the dragon's body were probably the result of these millions of dragon carvings. Xianxia pondered for a moment. The Confucian cultivator Xianxia said in a low voice, "Fellow Immortal, let me out first. Although I can't rely on this dragon cleansing pool to form my body, I can comprehend the essence of the dragon cleansing pool and see fellow Taoist Longmai's rebirth. This will be of great help to me in comprehending the vitality of Confucian cultivators. Fellow Immortal, don't be impatient," Xianxia said with a smile. "The spatial laws in this folded jade legacy realm are incomplete. Confucian cultivators and clear eyes technique can't be used. This is the spatial crack of the folded jade legacy realm. Who knows if fellow Immortal can come out?" Chapter 40. Fortunately, Xianxia only gave it a try before releasing the scholarly cultivator Xianxia. Thus, Xianxia simply let the green-robed Xianxia send out his invisible nascent soul to experience the changes in the dragon cleansing pool together. Looking at the resplendent sword light and the rumbling thunder, Xianxia turned his head to look outside the spatial crack, at the snowflakes floating down from the stacked jade legacy realm. He sighed in his heart, then his mind escaped into the mysterious dark clouds. How is it? Xiaobai had previously swallowed Ao Jiao's soul, so he naturally knew some secrets of the stacked jade legacy realm. Although he had never asked, he was inevitably nervous. After all, even a dragon like Ao Jiao couldn't form her body. Xiaobai was only a flood dragon, so how could he be blessed by heaven? Now that he saw Jade Archive Xiaohua appear, he couldn't help but speak with a trembling voice. Jade Archive Xiaohua smiled and said, "Everything is ready except for the east wind. How is your cultivation of the dragon transformation art?" Ha ha ha. Xiaobai's face was filled with ecstasy when he heard this, and he laughed loudly. The entire soul formation realm was filled with Xiaobai's joy, and the gloom and sorrow that seemed to have accumulated for hundreds of years disappeared in an instant. Xiaobai laughed for half a cup of tea's time before he opened his mouth and said, "I don't know how to describe the excitement in my heart, nor do I know how to express my gratitude to you, Xiaobai." Jade Archive Xiaohua couldn't help but be excited and said, "You and I met because of Yellow Flower Ridge, and you died because of Shang Huaming. Although you aren't a member of Shang Huaming, in my eyes, you are the same as second senior brother and senior sister. You are my family in this life, and I am very happy to be able to do something for you. Furthermore, you and I are best friends. Your soul remains in my mysterious dark clouds, and my soul cultivation progresses along with you. How many people in this world are there who are worthy of such trust? How many people in this world are there who are worthy of such trust? How many people in this world are there who are worthy of such trust? How many people in this world are there who we can entrust everything to?" Sigh. Xiaobai's expression gradually calmed down, and he sighed slightly and said, "You are right. In the face of such feelings, any words are useless, and no matter what you say, it is useless. Have you cultivated your dragon transformation skill to perfection?" Jade Archive Xiaohua was still concerned about the dragon transformation skill and asked again. Xiaobai smiled and said, "Although there are 9 layers to the dragon transformation art, when the dragon jade was incomplete, I did not quite understand it. After all, the tempering techniques in it were too profound. Furthermore, back then with my python body, I had actually already mastered most of the dragonization art. Otherwise, How could I have transformed into a dragon? When the dragon jade was complete and I learned that the dragon transformation art was originally a cultivation method for the dragon race to remodel their bodies, I completely understood that during this period of time, there were no longer any obstacles for me to look back at the dragon transformation art in my soul state. At this point, Little White asked again, "By the way, Xiaohua, you didn't let fellow Taoist Long Mai reconstruct his body first?" "Hee, your matter is more important," Jade Archive Xiaohua said with a smile. "Leave the matter of Taoist Long Mai for later." Little White was moved again. After thinking for a bit, it raised its dragon claw and a crystal light fell in front of Xiaohua's eyes. It said, "This is my recent understanding of the dragonization art. Perhaps it will be of some help to Taoist Long Mai." "Okay." Jade Archive Xiaohua stretched out his hand and the crystal light immediately entered Little White's body. He then urged, "Let's go, Little White. It's time for you to remodel your body." When Xiaohua's consciousness withdrew from the mysterious dark clouds, he used the soul strands to drag Little White's soul out. Immediately, the entire space was filled with crackling sounds. The dragon that was originally difficult to see with the naked eye actually revealed its outline. Moreover, the calm purple liquid in the dragon cleansing pool also began to show traces of ripples. "Xiaohua, I'm going." Little White was actually somewhat reserved as it looked at the dragon cleansing pool and said in a low voice. Xiaohua said with a smile, "Go. Don't worry about personal gains and losses. Just stay calm and clear, and activate the dragonization art." "Okay." Little White took a deep breath. Roar. With a long roar, its soul rushed into the dragon cleansing pool. Boom! Seeing Little White's soul fall into the dragon cleansing pool, the entire space shook with a loud boom. A huge fire dragon shape appeared above the dragon cleansing pool. "Oh!" Xiaohua somewhat understood. He knew that this was the reason why Little White swallowed the fire dragon's soul. Buzz! A series of strange sounds came from the dragon cleansing pool. The water in the dragon cleansing pool began to boil. At the crack in space, countless amounts of dragon spiritual energy rushed out from the stacked jade legacy realm and madly entered the dragon shape that was faintly visible to the naked eye. When the dragon spiritual energy entered the dragon scale, it turned into fireflies that hovered in the dragon cleansing pool. "Hiss! Is this the power of rebirth?" Xiaohua's voice came from the sword light. Xiaohua hastily looked over and saw a flickering black and white light appear at the end of the dragon cleansing pool. Then, even more black and white light appeared. In the blink of an eye, another dragon scale was formed. Then the dragon scales began to flicker. "Xiaohua!" At this time Little White's voice came, "Don't forget your promise. Quickly give me a drop of essence blood." "You!" Xiaohua didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "What do you want my essence blood for? I have a lot of dragon corpses here. How about I give you their flesh?" "Hee, we had an agreement back then." Little White didn't explain and only laughed from the dragon cleansing pool. "All right." Xiaohua helplessly sent a drop of essence blood into the dragon scale. Whoosh! A blood-red light flashed within the dragon scale. Within the blood-red light, the chanting of gods and devils could be faintly heard. One by one, the figures of gods and devils that couldn't be determined inexplicably appeared. The black and white light from before immediately dimmed under the influence of the gods and devils. A bit of flesh appeared within the light, and at the same time, the liquid in the dragon cleansing pool began to rush into the flesh and turned into something else. In just a short moment, a butterfly-shaped dragon tail appeared. Thunderclaps sounded like raindrops, and the dragon's spiritual energy blew in from the spatial crack like a hurricane. Snowflakes also entered the spatial crack, and the originally solemn atmosphere in the spatial crack became even denser. Mysterious ripples were produced in the spatial crack one after another. Scholarly cultivator Xiaohua wasn't the only one who was immersed in comprehending the Tao of life. Green-robed Xiaohua wasn't the only one who was engrossed in comprehending the Tao of life and death. Even Xiaohua's eyes were filled with extraordinary splendor. This was the power of heaven and earth that was rarely seen in the world. This was the mystery of heaven and earth that came out of nothing. It was more profound than any cultivation method, secret technique, divine ability, or secret technique in the world. This was the source of all magical techniques and divine abilities. After a full 2 hours, the reconstruction of Little White's dragon body finally came to an end. A dragon body that was close to 50 kilometers in size gradually emerged from the dragon cleansing pool. Its scales flashed with mysterious dragon patterns, and every inch of its flesh was engraved with indescribable runes. Its seemingly real dragon body was filled with vitality and vitality. Boom! In the end, the entire space began to rumble with lightning and thunder. Consciousnesses that could easily destroy the entire world appeared above the dragon cleansing pool. With the appearance of these consciousnesses, an obscure and incomprehensible draconic incantation appeared amidst the rumbling thunder. Following this draconic incantation, the lightning in the entire space began to gather, forming a huge character on the little white dragon's blurry head. This character was so strange that even Xianxia, who had cultivated green seal text, couldn't see it in his mind even though he could see it with his eyes. Chirp! The words that came out of the lightning made a sound that was similar to the green seal script. Then, they fell into the little white dragon's head. It was like the finishing touch. The little white dragon's head suddenly appeared. At the same time, all the waves converged on the little white dragon's head, and the blood-red dragon horn appeared on its head. The moment the dragon horn appeared, all the gods and devils chanted, and all the thunder and lightning disappeared. Ha ha! Little White laughed and flew out of the dragon cleansing pool. Its huge dragon body rapidly shrank. When it arrived in front of Xianxia, the flames around Little White's body flashed, and a human figure wearing a scarlet robe appeared in front of Xianxia. It cupped its hands and said, "Fellow Taoist, I greet you." Looking at the human figure that looked exactly like him and the mysterious dragon pattern on the robe, Xianxia didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He raised his hand and returned the gesture. "Little White, don't you have your original form?" "Ha ha." Little White laughed. "I only have my original form of a monster. I don't have a human face." Xianxia nodded slightly and said, "I understand. Ordinary dragons can't transform into a real human like you because they don't have the bloodline of a human. And you can only transform into me because you have my blood essence?" Not only that. Little White's body swayed and transformed into an ordinary dragon. It danced in the air a few times and said with a smile, "I once cultivated in your soul, so I also have the power of your soul. When I transform into you, even Virokana revered one wouldn't be able to tell the difference." "You're my real incarnation," Xianxia said with a smile. "You're no longer a soul body, so you can't enter the soul to cultivate. What plans do you have?" "Plans?" Little White laughed. "I'll follow you. What other plans do I have?" "The world is vast. There are many places you can go." Xianxia nodded. "Even if you and I depend on each other for survival, you should go out and gain experience." "All right," Little White replied. "I'll listen to you. After all, I've just condensed my physical body. It's better for me to walk around first." Also, Xianxia thought of something and wanted to send a voice transmission, but he hesitated. After pondering for a moment he said, "Your origin. Just don't reveal it. I don't have anything else to tell you." "All right." Little White replied without hesitation. "We naturally have to endure our blood feud. When the time is right, we'll talk about it." "How much dragon cleansing liquid did you use in the dragon cleansing pool?" Xianxia looked at the dragon cleansing pool and asked, "Is there enough left for fellow Taoist dragon bloodline to condense his body?" Chapter 40-41. Haha, don't worry. Little White Dragon laughed and replied proudly, "I only used 20% of the dragon cleansing pool's dragon cleansing liquid. The remaining is enough for Taoist Long Mai to condense his body." "Good." Xianxia relaxed and asked, "I have a Kunlun mirror here with a Kunlun immortal realm for you to cultivate in. Do you want to go in now? Or do you want to stay here?" "Of course I want to stay here." The little white dragon replied without any hesitation, "Fellow Taoist Long Mai is your clone, so I have to protect you no matter what." "Good." Xianxia slapped his forehead and said, "Taoist Long Mai, it's time for you to condense your body." Roar. With a dragon roar, Long Mai Xianxia rushed out of Xiaohua's body. Rumble. As Long Mai Xiaohua appeared, the previously extinguished lightning instantly enveloped the entire space. Even the dragon cleansing pool's dragon cleansing liquid began to boil. Hiss. Seeing such a phenomenon, not only was Xiaohua shocked, even Little White Dragon was stunned. "Taoist friend," Xiaohua hurriedly said. The dragon cleansing pool's life force suddenly flourished, 10 times stronger than before. The lightning energy has also strengthened 10 times. Green-robed Xiaohua reminded at the same time. There's more. Xiaohua said, once Taoist Long Mai condenses his body, he might not be able to return to your body. How will you cultivate your Dao sex techniques? Xiaohua pondered for a moment, then raised his head and said, I have already thought about it for a long time. Now, Taoist Long Mai is no longer just eyes meridians. He is also an independent Taoist friend. Condensing his body is the first step of his cultivation. I cannot destroy his heavenly Tao for myself. Xiaohua. Long Mai Xiaohua's entire body was incomparably bright in the space. His voice also seemed to come from the heavens. Thank you. Hee, no need to be so polite. Xiaohua laughed. You are me and I am you. I'm thinking for you and also for myself. Little White, thank you for your understanding of the dragonization art. Long Mai Xiaohua looked at the reborn little white dragon. Now I have full confidence in condensing my body. Haha, no need to be so polite. Little white dragon's voice. You are me, I am you. Roar. Long Mai Xiaohua's dragon roar shook the space. Xiaohua, the dragon flew into the dragon cleansing pool. Don't worry, I'll give you some essence blood. Xiaohua thought of something and hurriedly forced a drop of essence blood into Xiaohua's mouth. Aren't you being too stingy? The green-robed Xiaohua laughed from the side. Now, the lightning in the dragon cleansing pool is more than 10 times stronger than the little white dragon's body. How can a drop of your essence blood succeed? It? Xiaohua almost stomped his feet. He fiercely glared at the green-robed Xiaohua. Taoist, teat, est, is. Taoist Lord Long Mai's body is to condense body to condense. Me too. Xiaohua, of course, wouldn't let Long Mai Xiaohua's body formation fail. Thinking for a moment, he gave another 8 drops of blood. Xiaohua's face turned pale. Boom! Long Mai Xiaohua rushed into the dragon cleansing pool, causing the space to tremble. Inside the dragon cleansing pool, Long Mai Xiaohua's body formation phenomenon was 10 times stronger than when Little White Dragon condensed his body. Looking at the dragon's spiritual qi gushing out from the folded jade legacy realm, it caused the space crack to shake. The 2 mountains seemed to be on the verge of collapse. Oh no! Although Xiaohua was prepared, he didn't expect Long Mai Xiaohua's body formation to be so powerful. Before he could come up with a countermeasure, the dragon cleansing pool roared. Roar! The dragon above the dragon cleansing pool actually let out a roar. The dragon cleansing liquid in the dragon cleansing pool was like a water dragon charging into the dragon. Even more concentrated lightning bolts struck the dragon's scales and patterns. After the dragon cleansing pool filled up the dragon, it continued to expand uncontrollably. At the end of the dragon cleansing pool, the black and white specks of light at the dragon's tail had yet to appear, let alone the condensation of blood and flesh. Little White, what's going on? Xiaohua panicked and turned to ask Little White Dragon. Little White Dragon was also dumbfounded. He didn't know what to say. After a while he stuttered. I don't know. Roar! Right at this moment, Xiaohua's dragon roar resounded once more from the dragon cleansing pool. An enormous dragon figure actually charged out from the pool, flashed over Xiaohua's head, and flew towards the stacked jade legacy realm. Around the dragon shape, there were billions of lightning and billions of dragon runes that looked like sparkling jade lights. It was a spectacular sight. Xiaohua didn't dare to be careless. He hurriedly moved his body and followed Little White Dragon out of the space. Woo! A huge wind whistled. The dragon shape gradually expanded and rushed towards the folded jade legacy realm. It was probably already more than 10,000 miles away. At this time, the drifting snowflakes were sucked into the huge dragon shape along with the dragon spirit chi in the folded jade legacy realm. This hurricane was so big that it gradually affected the entire folded jade legacy realm. Along with the hurricane, the entire folded jade legacy realm fell into lightning and thunder. 10,000 layers of dragon clouds, 10,000 layers of dragon roars. The entire folded jade legacy realm seemed to be splitting the heavens and earth. This huge movement was not inferior to the changes in the scenery of the folded jade legacy realm. Especially, along with the appearance of the dragon cleansing pool's dragon shape and the condensation of Long Mai Xiaohua's flesh, an earth-shattering dragon aura gradually condensed from an inexplicable space within Xiaohua's body. This dragon aura was so powerful that it caused all the dragons in the folded Jade Legacy realm to crawl on the ground. Dragon territory. Dragon territory. Ao Shang and Ao Zhan were naturally attracted by the phenomenon of Long Mai Xiao Hua's body condensation. Like all the other dragons, they flew towards the direction of the huge dragon shape. However, when the dragon aura was released, they couldn't help but tremble. Ao Shang resisted the trembling and actually revealed the tone of a great elder. Could it be that the passage between the folded Jade Legacy realm and dragon territory has been repaired? Did the dragon territory's holy dragon descend here? When did the dragon aura of the Four Seas Dragon Clan and Dragon Island's Dragon Clan become so powerful? Looking far into the distance, Long Si, who was sucking on a giant dragon, raised her head in surprise. She looked at the dragon pillar, and a rare look of fear and indescribable greed appeared in her withered and emotionless eyes. After hesitating for a moment, Long Si suddenly jumped into the air, and her figure disappeared in a flash. Long Si was not the only one who was attracted by this unusual phenomenon. Even further away, another black figure that was dozens of feet large flew up from the ground. Its body also swiftly descended into the empty space. Behind this black figure, there were also a couple of huge dragon corpses that had fallen on a huge rock. Quick, quick! Although the dragons were shocked by the dragon aura, they understood in their hearts and shouted, "Quickly rush to where the holy dragon is. Only by reaching there will we be safe. Only the holy dragon can resist Long Si." Damn it, fellow Taoist Long Mai is too strong. Little White Dragon was also shocked by the dragon aura. However, he had just come out of the dragon cleansing pool and the dragon aura of the dragon cleansing liquid in his body hadn't faded yet. Therefore, he could still stand there steadily. He couldn't help but exclaim. However, Xiao Hua, who was standing next to Little White Dragon, had a trace of worry on his face. Although he couldn't see what was wrong with this powerful dragon aura, he could feel the lack of strength in Xiao Hua's body condensation. Xiao Hua looked at the snowflakes dancing in the air, then the yellow leaves drifting in the air, and now it was drizzling. He understood that because of Xiao Hua's body condensation, the 3 seasons of the stacked Jade Legacy realm had been completed within several hours. The dragon's spiritual qi had condensed into Xiao Hua's body, but the will of the body condensation and the dragon language that sealed the heavenly pattern land deed hadn't appeared. This could only mean that his 9 drops of essence blood weren't enough to condense Xiao Hua's body. What else is missing? What else is missing? Xiao Hua held his forehead with one hand and whispered in a somewhat anxious tone. Little White Dragon also frowned. He thought for a moment, then probed, "Xiao Hua, fellow Taoist Long Mai is formed by luck and borrowed your meridians. It's easier for him to fuse with the dragon cleansing liquid in the dragon cleansing pool. This place is a fragment of the dragon domain. Does he lack dragon domain's essence blood? Damn it, how can I have dragon jade's essence blood?" Xiao Hua replied somewhat anxiously. "Isn't there a dragon priest in the stacked Jade Legacy realm?" Confucian cultivator Xiao Hua reminded. Xiao Hua's eyes lit up, but then he shook his head. Although dragon priest is from the dragon domain, he isn't a dragon. His essence blood won't be useful. That's not right. Green-robed Xiao Hua said, "Fellow Taoist Long Mai hasn't condensed his body for a long time. It should be because he doesn't have enough life force. Or rather, he doesn't have enough dragon spiritual qi. Dragon Jade. Crystal Dragon. Dragon Core." Xiao Hua suddenly came to a realization. These 3 things came from Dragon Field. There must be pure dragon spirit qi from Dragon Field inside. "Put the dragon core at the back." Green-robed Xiao Hua immediately shouted, "Let's give the useless crystal dragon and dragon jade to fellow Taoist Long Mai first." With a wave of his hand, Xiao Hua took out dragon jade and crystal dragon and sent them into the dragon cleansing pool together. Boom! The dragon cleansing pool once again surged with wild waves. An indescribable ripple spread from the dragon's tail to the dragon's head that Xiao Hua still couldn't form. Boom! With a loud sound, the entire stacked Jade Legacy realm turned completely dark. Only a bolt of lightning flashed in the sky. In the darkness, hundreds of powerful consciousnesses appeared in the stacked Jade Legacy realm. Then, hundreds of cryptic dragon language appeared in the thunder like an incantation. It was like a blessing and also like a prayer. Following this dragon language, hundreds of huge characters directly emitted a dazzling light in the darkness. Dragon. Dragon Ancestors' Blessing. Ao Shang crawled on the ground and couldn't help but cry out. This isn't the dragon domain's holy dragon descends. It's a dragon's body condensed. Xiaohua. This is Xiaohua. But, dragon ancestor's blessing. How can there be so many? There's a total of 100. How is this possible? Chapter 40-42. Just as Dragon Hall's Great Elder was confused, hundreds of dragon runes landed on Dragon Vein Xiaohua's head. At the same time, a huge dragon head slowly grew out. 2 9-colored crystal dragon horns also grew out. Above the dragon horns, there was a faint dragon crown. The hundreds of dragon ancestors' blessings landed on the dragon horns. All the gods and demons chanted and all the thunder and lightning completely disappeared. Along with the disappearance of the lightning and thunder, there were also layers of dark clouds in the forgotten realm of stacked jade. The entire sky seemed to have brightened up as jade-like crystals were born in the sky. Like a spring breeze, tens of thousands of flower petals bloomed among the cloud trees. Stacked jade, stacked jade. Xiaohua was in a good mood. Looking at the layers of jade falling down, he smiled and said, I'm afraid this is the origin of the realm of stacked jade? Roar. Dragon Vein Xiaohua stretched his neck and let out a long cry. His huge dragon body rapidly shrank. The dragon might that pervaded the entire realm of stacked jade also faded like the tide. When Dragon Vein Xiaohua landed in the dragon cleansing pool, all the strange phenomena disappeared. I greet you. Dragon Vein Xiaohua flew out from the dragon cleansing pool and transformed into a human figure that looked exactly like Xiaohua. He bowed and greeted. Little white dragon's figure flashed and landed beside Dragon Vein Xiaohua. His appearance was also no different from Xiaohua. Not to mention the naked eye, even if divine sense swept over, it was impossible to distinguish Little White from Dragon Vein Xiaohua. Congratulations, fellow Taoist. Xiaohua ignored the little white dragon and cupped his hands in return. His gaze was rather satisfied as he looked up and down at Xiaohua of the dragon bloodline, who was dressed in a dragon-patterned Taoist robe. He said, fellow Taoist, you can use your original appearance. There's no need to transform into my appearance. Dragon Vein Xiaohua smiled. The dragon runes moved slightly and his human figure disappeared. A 5-clawed colored dragon with a dragon crown appeared in front of Xiaohua. You actually formed a 5-clawed dragon body? Little white dragon looked at Dragon Vein Xiaohua's 5 claws and was shocked. He asked in disbelief. Dragon Vein Xiaohua smiled and said, Indeed. Before I condensed my body, I didn't notice it. Now that I have condensed my body, I realize that I actually formed a 5-clawed dragon body. Sigh. A dragon among dragons. Fate is indeed different. Little white dragon sighed. Comparing dragons to dragons really makes dragons angry. Ouch! Xiaohua smiled as he looked at the 2 dragons that had successfully condensed their bodies. Suddenly, his expression changed as if he had thought of something. He threw down the 2 dragons and hurriedly flew to the side of the dragon cleansing pool. At this time, the dragon cleansing pool was almost empty. Less than half of the dragon cleansing liquid was flowing in the pool. Withdraw. Without hesitation, Xiaohua extended his consciousness into the dragon cleansing pool. Fortunately, the dragon cleansing pool had just been destroyed by the Dragon Vein Xiaohua's transformation, and all the innate restrictions had yet to recover. Xiaohua's consciousness swept up the dragon cleansing liquid and smoothly sent it into the space. Ha ha! Xiaohua clapped his hands and laughed. This way, I won't have any regrets. Before he could finish laughing, the sound of a beast's roar that made Xiaohua's hair stand on end came from outside the dragon cleansing pond. Long Si. Why did this thing chase after us? Damn it. Xiaohua's face was pale. Long Si was the natural enemy of the dragon race. How could the 2 freshly emerged dragons outside the dragon cleansing pool be a match for Long Si? Roar. Roar. Contrary to Xiaohua's expectations, 2 resounding dragon roars rang out at the same time as the sound of an explosion. Xiaohua was so frightened that he hurriedly flew out of the dragon cleansing pool. When he flew out, the little white dragon and Long Si had already transformed into a 1,000-zhang long dragon and were fighting with a similarly 1,000-zhang long Long Si. Although the 2 dragons were at a disadvantage, they did not look like ordinary dragons that were being eaten. Xiaohua came to a realization. The dragon cleansing pool was an item of the dragon domain. The two dragons born from the dragon cleansing pool were naturally not something the Dragon Island's dragon race could compare to. They would not be particularly afraid of Long Si. Of course, the strength that Long Si Xiaohua was displaying now was extremely unmatched with the huge abnormality of Long Si Xiaohua's body condensation. This made Xiaohua a little confused. However, how could Xiaohua have the time to think? With a roar, his body flashed with brilliance as he displayed the Heavenly Law's embodiment technique and joined the battle with the wishful steel staff in his hand. Rumble! Just as Xiaohua's figure left the dragon cleansing pool, a loud thunder sounded again. The two mountain-like spatial cracks quickly healed, and the dragon platform between the three mountains also began to slowly roll down the mountain. Roar! Dragon bloodline Xiaohua roared angrily. He opened his dragon mouth and tore off a piece of flesh from dragon bloodline Xiaohua's body. Taking advantage of dragon bloodline Xiaohua's success, dragon bloodline Xiaohua opened his mouth and a several thousand-foot-long tongue came out of his dragon head and fiercely lunged at dragon bloodline Xiaohua's forehead. Boom! Just as the tongue was about to pierce Long Si Xiaohua's forehead, a black wishful steel staff suddenly appeared from the void and smashed right in the middle of the tongue. The whole tongue bent like noodles. Gee! Long Si Xiaohua was ashamed and angry, and its huge claws slapped at Xiaohua. This slap of Long Si Xiaohua actually contained a restriction that shrouded the space of several hundred zhang around Xiaohua, imprisoning Xiaohua. Pa! Xiaohua's whole body shone with golden light, but he was unable to break free from this restriction. The beast claw slapped down and hit his arm. Xiaohua's several hundred zhang golden body fell from the sky like a stone and landed on the ground with a boom. However, it was only a moment before Xiaohua flew out from the ground again and rushed into the air, although there were some cracks on his arm. Ah! It was also at this moment that Long Si's other beast claw fell on Little White Dragon's tail. A large piece of flesh was torn, and Little White Dragon cried out in pain. Immediately, Long Si Xiaohua turned its head and its long tongue suddenly attacked Little White Dragon's forehead. Little White Dragon turned pale with fright, and a dark green halo flashed between its dragon horns. A halo rushed out and landed on Long Si Xiaohua's forehead without any obstruction. Long Si Xiaohua suddenly screamed and hastily retracted its tongue, as if it wanted to protect its forehead. Ka! At this moment, a shadow flashed by on Long Si Xiaohua's tail. Long Si Xiaohua's dragon tail suddenly fell, and Long Si Xiaohua's tail immediately bent. Long Si Xiaohua's figure rose up and loudly howled. Kill! Xiaohua coldly waved his hand. Following Xiaohua's command, Little White Dragon and Long Si Xiaohua once again pounced on Long Si Xiaohua from both sides. Gg. Long Si Xiaohua roared 3 times in a row, and its entire monster body was suffused with a striking scarlet color. The dragon patterns on its body seemed to be alive, and an indescribable dragon might was actually emitted from Long Si Xiaohua's body, forcing Little White Dragon and Long Si Xiaohua to retreat several thousand zhang. Xiaohua was even worse off, and was firmly pressed on the ground, unable to move at all. Moreover, as the dragon might grew stronger, the two dragons' movements were also restricted, and a vague feeling of bone softness and tendon numbness appeared again. Not good. Xiaohua looked at Long Si Xiaohua, who was ferociously closing in on Little White Dragon and Long Si Xiaohua, and was greatly alarmed. Little White Dragon and Long Si Xiaohua have after all just formed their bodies, and their strength is still shallow. How can they be this Long Si's opponent? At this crucial moment, roar! A loud and clear dragon roar came from afar, and a mountain-like dragon might rushed over like a wave. Rumble! It violently collided with Long Si's dragon might from all directions. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Xiaohua struggled to fly up from the ground, and rushed to Long Si Xiaohua's side. Fellow! Xiaohua bitterly smiled and asked, "The heaven and earth anomaly of your body forming is so big, and has indeed disturbed the entire overlapping Jadeite legacy realm, but why is your strength still so weak?" Long Si Xiaohua indifferently replied, "Ai's body-forming movement is big, and it can only mean that Ai's dragon body foundation is good, and I have great potential in the future. It can't mean that Ai's strength can surpass you all of a sudden. That Ao Shang is called Little Clan Elder, but isn't his current strength inferior to Ai?" Xiaohua was only complaining, but he actually understood in his heart. Looking at Long Si, whose dragon might was like a mountain, he asked, "Now, what should we do?" "Fight to the death." Long Si Xiaohua's dragon eyes were unyielding. I formed my body from the dragon spiritual energy of the dragon domain, and this heaven and earth originally did not tolerate it. How can you not know? It is difficult for any almighty to descend into the world, and there is bound to be a heaven and earth calamity. This Long Si is the heaven and earth's test for I, and I will definitely fight and win, and kill if I win. Good. Little White Dragon shouted from the side. I will also help. Rumble. While Xiaohua and the others were talking, Long Si Xiaohua had already clashed with Long Si. Dense draconic aura wreaked havoc in an area of nearly 1,000 miles. Specks of emerald green danced in the hurricane. Scales and drops of dragon blood also flashed with a bloody color in the emerald green. The entire space was cracking and collapsing amidst the roars. The great elder of the Dragon Hall once again used Ao Shang's dragon body to reveal his true form. That 8th grade essence force was evenly matched with Long Si. Even with the powerful combat ability of the dragon race, the great elder tore Long Si's body into pieces. The pain made Long Si's withered yellow eyes flash with green light. Xiaohua, Little White Dragon, and Long Si Xiaohua were forced back step by the unstoppable force, and that knife-like wind blade even cut open the huge rocks of the realm of Jade. Luckily, Little White Dragon looked at Long Si Xiaohua, who had the upper hand, with lingering fear, and said, Long Si Xiaohua was distracted during this training, otherwise we would have all died in Long Si's mouth. Not necessarily. Long Si Xiaohua's expression suddenly changed, and said in a low voice, This Long Si's dragon might is starting to change. Not only that. Xiaohua's face also turned pale. Long Si Xiaohua has already appeared once with Ao Sheng's body. I'm afraid he won't be able to last long this time. His dragon might and aura are already starting to weaken. At this moment, Long Si Xiaohua's sharp claws slashed through the air, and instantly created a several hundred zhong long wound on Long Si's abdomen, and that faint golden blood flowed out from the wound. However, Long Si not only did not roar in pain, but instead let out a hiss, and this hiss actually had a hint of a dragon's roar. Looking at the wound, Gotcha! It expanded, and a golden light flashed out from the wound, and a monster that looked like a python dragon poked its head out from the wound. Chapter 40-43. Once this monster similar to Long Si appeared, a huge dragon might and an aura that could cause 10,000 dragons to tremble was released. It spread towards the depths of the stacked Jade Legacy realm. Even Dragon Hall's great elder couldn't help but tremble when facing this aura. It was hard for him to gather the dragon chi in his body. Not good. Dragon Hall's great elder shouted and transmitted his voice to Xiaohua. Quick! Taoist Master Xiao, ask these 2 immortal friends to come and help. This Long Si is about to advance. As long as he succeeds, the stacked Jade Legacy realm, no, the entire Dragon Island will be destroyed. You can't even deal with it with your 8th grade essence energy strength. How can we deal with it? Xiaohua was a bit hesitant. Right now, the only person in the entire stacked Jade Legacy realm who wasn't afraid of Long Si was probably him. Of course I can kill Long Si with my strength. Dragon Hall's great elder said anxiously. I even have the heavenly dragon technique that I haven't used yet. But this Long Si is the natural enemy of my dragon race. Before Long Si advanced, I could still resist his killing aura. Now that Long Si has started to advance, I'm afraid I can't resist anymore. And Taoist Master's 2 immortal friends have just condensed their bodies and came out of the dragon cleansing pool. They aren't afraid of Long Si's killing aura. Xiaohua squinted his eyes, as if he was bargaining. But their strength is only at 6th grade essence energy. Relying on the dragon chi of the stacked Jade Legacy realm, they might reach 7th grade essence energy. Adding on Taoist Master. Great Elder's voice became more and more hurried, as if he couldn't breathe due to Long Si's killing aura. I can also use the heavenly dragon technique again. We might have the strength to fight. Long Si only consumes dragons, right? Xiaohua asked in confusion. Of course, the entire stacked Jade Legacy realm's dragon race. Great Elder was caught off guard and said casually. But just as he said that, he immediately understood Xiaohua's meaning and said angrily, Taoist Master Xiao Yu. Xiaohua's hand pinched his chin. Looking at the new Long Si who was coming out of the bloodstains on Long Si's abdomen, he said calmly, Great Elder has already used this Xiao enough. Don't you feel that you are very unkind? But didn't you also find the dragon cleansing pool? Didn't he condense his body as well? The Grand Elder couldn't help but tremble. Even his voice was trembling. That new dragon priest's killing intent was too powerful. If there is no Long Si, Xiaohua said with a smile, of course, I will abide by the agreement in the Dragon Palace. Besides, even if there is no Long Si, the thing that Ao Shang and Ao Zhan obtained in the deeper Yuan. You don't think that it flew out of nowhere, do you? All right. The great elder of the Dragon Palace naturally knew what Xiaohua was talking about. He also understood Xiaohua's meaning. He resolutely and decisively said, Long Yu will be given to a real person to comprehend for 1,000 years. No. How could Xiaohua agree? He waves his hand and says, Long Yu belongs to your Dragon Island. Now that this Xiao has found him, he should already belong to this Xiao. However, this Xiao is willing to return it to its rightful owner. As for when it will be returned, that will depend on my mood. At this point, the great elder of the Dragon Hall no longer had any room to bargain. He said without hesitation, if you return it before you ascend, I will agree on behalf of the Dragon Hall. Otherwise I will go all out. Deal. Xiaohua saw Long Si break out of the cocoon and did not dare to delay any longer. He hurriedly said, let's go together. Kill this bastard. All right. The great elder of the Dragon Hall said again, Long Si has advanced. There is a fetal belt in his abdomen. It is the essence of Long Si and is also Long Si's only weakness. My dragon race does not dare to approach that place. Only that immortal friend Five Claws can. However, that place is especially tough. Only Five Claws' dragon claws can break it. Once this fetal belt is broken, Long Si's essence will leak out. You can also kill him. What about you? Xiaohua nodded and whispered to Little White Dragon and Dragon Vein Xiaohua. He then asked. The great elder of the Dragon Hall sneered. Do you think this old man is useless? Even if this old man has to give up this primordial spirit, I will still kill Long Si. That is, Xiaohua said with a smile, if Long Si does not die, I am afraid the entire Dragon Island will be in danger. Great Elder, if you have any trump cards, take them all out. Long Si cannot leave the stacked Jade Legacy realm. The Great Elder looked at Long Si and said with a decisive tone, without the true Dragon Tablet, no one can return to the Dragon Island. Roar. At this time, Long Si had already raised his head from the bloodstains. Although there were no dragon horns on the beast's head and it did not have the shape of a dragon, a kind of beast roar that was extremely similar to that of the dragon race came out from its bloody mouth. When this sound came out, the Great Elder's dragon body trembled and shouted, Taoist Master Xiao, we do not have time. Hurry up and do it. All right. Xiaohua waved his hand and ordered, we will attract Long Si's attention. Fellow Taoist Dragon Vein, you are responsible for killing Long Si. Roar. Little White and Dragon Vein Xiaohua roared at the same time, as if they were emboldening each other. The two huge dragons, one from the left and one from the back, pounced towards Long Si. Woo! Seeing the two dragons move, the Great Elder urged Ao Shang's dragon body and also rushed into the sky. However, before the Great Elder could get close to Long Si slightly moaned, and the Great Elder's body immediately trembled. He could not even fly and was about to fall. Wang wang wang. The Great Elder's dragon body suddenly flashed with brilliance, and streams of dragon aura surged from all directions. The dragon aura of the stacked Jade Legacy realm was first plundered by Dragon Vein Xiaohua's body, and now that Long Si had advanced, it was swept clean again, so the dragon aura that the Great Elder attracted this time was really insufficient. However, as the dragon aura poured in, the Great Elder opened his mouth, and obscure dragon language flew out from his mouth. Then, the Great Elder waved his dragon claws, and the space within hundreds of miles gradually condensed into a kind of crystal-like thing. Jie. At this time, Xiaohua did not care about hiding his strength anymore. He abandoned his Transcendence golden body and gradually formed a demon body. The Phoenix Wu raised its head and screamed, flapping its wings and pouncing towards Long Si. Facing Long Si, the Phoenix Wu who had transformed into a phoenix did not have any natural fear. Even the sound that made the dragons go limp only made his heart tremble, and did not have any effect on his physical body. The Phoenix Wu waved its phoenix claws, and a mark that was hundreds of feet long flashed in midair, slashing towards Long Si like lightning. This sharp blade that could cut an ordinary cultivator in half did not seem to be in Long Xi's eyes at all. Long Xi sensed the abnormality and suddenly turned his head, spitting out dirty blood from his mouth. Swoosh! An extremely tough blood cloud blocked in front of the Phoenix Wu. Ka-ka! Under the Phoenix Wu's sharp claws, this blood cloud actually made a golden sound. When the blood cloud was torn apart, the Phoenix Wu's strength had already disappeared, and the Phoenix Wu did not hesitate to extend its beak and peck at Long Xi's forehead from afar. Long Xi's forehead was originally stained with blood, but at this time, it seemed to have been washed away by the rain. Swoosh swoosh! With a sound, a crack appeared between Long Xi's brows. Long Xi was shocked, and his figure flashed quickly. The hidden dragon patterns on his body flashed brilliantly, and he rushed out of the blood, wanting to block the Phoenix Wu's attack. At this time, Little White Dragon and Dragon Vein Xiaohua's attacks also arrived. The dragon claws landed on Long Xi's skin, but with a ka-ka sound, the dragon patterns on Long Xi's skin still flashed, and it actually blocked the attacks of the two dragons. Wang wang! At the same time, within a few miles of Long Xi, the sound of wind whistling could be heard. Tens of thousands of huge scenery-like objects appeared out of thin air and stabbed into Long Xi's skin from all directions. Although the skin flashed with dragon patterns and destroyed a portion of the scenery-like objects, there were still many of the scenery-like objects that stabbed into it. Boom boom! The scenery-like objects exploded, and the skin was also blasted into pieces. Large amounts of blood gushed out, and Long Xi, who was not fully formed before, was exposed in mid-air. However, at the same time that the scenery-like objects exploded, Great Elder, who was using the Heavenly Dragon Speech technique in mid-air, had traces of dragon blood seeping out of his dragon scales. His brilliance also dimmed a lot, and his entire body flew back several thousand feet. It was obvious that he was hit by Long Xi's backlash. "This is all I can do," Great Elder's extremely weak voice sounded. "Quickly kill Long Xi." "It can't be?" Feng Wu really didn't understand why Long Xi was so powerful that even someone as strong as Great Elder was so powerless. However, he didn't dare to be careless. He flapped his wings, and the thin power of the stars and moon created a simple restriction. His entire body moved again, and he pounced towards Long Xi. Little White Dragon also seemed to be going all out. Its entire body rapidly transformed, and it became extremely long as it desperately tried to entangle Long Xi. Roar! Long Xi sensed danger and roared loudly. His entire body expanded, and it was actually 10,000 feet long. However, the body that had just been pulled out of the scenery-like object looked abnormally slender. Moreover, although there was a large amount of dragon spiritual energy surging in from the stacked Jade Forgotten Realm, it was clearly not enough for Long Xi to fully form. When Long Xi roared, his body suddenly expanded. Little White Dragon's body made creaking sounds, as if it was about to be torn apart. On Dragon Vein Xiaohua's dragon head, the seven-colored dragon horn on his dragon head gave off an inexplicable fluctuation, firmly covering Long Xi's forehead. The vague dragon crown also appeared, and a colorful light rushed towards Long Xi. Swoosh! Feng Wu rushed over, and his sharp claws scratched Long Xi's body. Several feet of flesh and blood were torn apart, and his other sharp claws pierced deeply into Long Xi's body. Before Feng Wu's sharp claws could penetrate deeper, from the side of Long Xi's body, a tentacle stretched out. Pa! It hit Feng Wu's phoenix body, and the huge force sent Feng Wu flying. Even his skin was torn apart by an extremely corrosive thing on the tentacle. See! Xiaohua sucked in a breath of cold air from the pain. Even his powerful body wasn't Long Xi's opponent. How could an ordinary dragon be Long Xi's opponent? Boom! The moment Long Xi attacked Xiaohua, Dragon Vein Xiaohua pierced his dragon horn into Long Xi's body. A huge explosion rang out, mixed with a bloody light that soared into the sky. Long Xi's screams resounded through the air. All of the dragons were scared out of their wits when they heard the miserable screams. Chapter 40-44. Although Dragon Vein Xiaohua's dragon horn had already pierced into Long Xi's body, Long Xi's screams were still loud and clear. It was far from being killed. At this moment, Xiaohua suddenly saw something that looked like a human baby's umbilical cord within the bloodstains. It was several zhong in size and was slightly wriggling in the bloodstains. Xiaohua was overjoyed and hurriedly transmitted his voice. Little White Dragon heard it and swept its tail towards the umbilical cord. Boom! A loud sound was heard. The umbilical cord emitted a strange brilliance and cryptic fluctuations, not allowing the dragon tail to get close. Long C sensed Little White Dragon's intention and turned around to bite Little White Dragon. Roar! Long C was indeed the natural nemesis of the dragon race. Long C had not completely transformed yet. With just a small bite, it immediately bit off a large part of Little White Dragon's neck. This pain was not only physical, but also spiritual and other mysterious parts. Little White Dragon was in so much pain that it raised its head and roared. Not only that, Long C's dragon claw even reached into Little White Dragon's chest. With a pu sound, the dragon body formed by the dragon cleansing pool was like a piece of paper under Long C's dragon claw. Roar! Little White Dragon threw caution to the wind. Ignoring the tearing pain all over its body, it once again urged its dragon chi and wrapped its body around Long C. At this critical moment, Dragon Vein Xiaohua's dragon claw quietly reached out from Little White Dragon's side and grabbed Long C's umbilical cord. Just as Dragon Vein Xiaohua's dragon claw reached out, Long C had already sensed it. He roared and turned around to escape. However, although Little White Dragon was covered in blood, it still risked its life to entangle Long C. Above Long C's head, Feng Wu once again pounced and blocked Long C's escape with its huge wings. Suddenly, Long C's immature tail pulled out from the blood and landed on Dragon Bloodline Xiaohua's back. This Long C's tail was even sharper than a sword. A deep wound appeared on Dragon Bloodline Xiaohua's back, revealing the bone. When had Dragon Vein Xiaohua ever suffered such great pain? Xiaohua's entire dragon body was trembling. However, it was also at this crucial moment that Dragon Vein Xiaohua's dragon claw suddenly reached into his fetal belt. The defense that Little White Dragon was unable to break through was even more like crumbs under Xiaohua's dragon claws. As the dragon claws penetrated, a burst of blood that emitted a fragrant smell spurted out like a fountain of blood. Looking at the unusually ferocious Long C, she looked like a giant dragon whose tendons had been pulled out. She fell limp in the air and hung down on the Little White Dragon like a vine. At the same time, the dragon might that intimidated the dragons and the murderous aura that could kill dragons instantly disappeared. Whoosh! Suddenly, a dragon shape appeared. Without waiting for Dragon Vein Xiaohua's dragon claw to pull out, it swallowed Long C's womb and other parts. It even swallowed Long C's abdomen, which was more than 100 feet away. Grand Elder Yu! Feng Wu's body had yet to recover, and he flapped his wings and shouted in midair. Ao Shang's dragon body appeared in midair. His dragon head was still stained with blood, but his dragon eyes were filled with ecstasy. He said, "Spiritual Master Xiao, you've only eaten meat. No matter what, you should let me drink some soup." That voice was Ao Shang's. Don't you think you're too shameless?" Xiao Hua recovered his body, and he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. If it was Dragon Hall's Grand Elder, Xiao Hua might have fought for something, but facing Ao Shang, Xiao Hua really didn't know what to say. It was probably because of this that Dragon Hall's Grand Elder let Ao Shang out. Just as Xiao Hua's voice fell, he suddenly remembered something. He hurriedly took out a yin-yang bracelet, and with his mind, he swept Long C's body into the space. "What are you doing?" Ao Shang was also shocked. He shouted, "Quickly kill Long C. Don't raise a tiger and invite calamity." Long C's womb was swallowed by you. Can he still do whatever he wants? Xiao Hua asked. Ao Shang thought for a moment, then shook his head and said, "Long C's womb has been lost. He can no longer cause harm to my dragon race. At best, he is now a strange beast of the dragon field. And an immature strange beast." Then it's settled. Xiao Hua looked at the Little White Dragon and the dragon vein. Xiao Hua transformed into his human form, and his body was covered in blood. He said fiercely, "This Long C is too despicable. I'm determined to make him regret it for the rest of his life." All right. Ao Sheng knew that he couldn't get back what fell into Xiao Hua's hands. He hesitated for a moment, then nodded and said, "Since you want to take Long C, then you have to be responsible for my dragon race. Don't let this Long C come out alive. If he eats my dragon race's brain, he might be able to recover." "Don't worry." Xiao Hua patted his chest and said, "In this old man's hands, how can I let him escape?" At this point, Xiaohua changed the topic and said, "Oh, also, North Sea Dragon Palace's Ao Zhang and the others were not killed by me. Now that I have Long Sea, I believe you can testify for me. Although I'm not afraid of North Sea Dragon Palace, I don't want to cause trouble." Ao Shang looked Xiaohua up and down and said with a smile, "Didn't you offend North Sea Dragon Palace's Ao Jing? Ao Zhang came to settle the score with you, so it's normal for you to kill him. Look, you killed Long Sea. Doesn't that phoenix body, which is even more powerful than a dragon's body, prove that you're the one who killed Ao Zhang? Why would I kill Ao Zhang?" Xiaohua waved his hand and said, "At that time Little White and this brother Long had yet to condense their bodies. How could I be a match for Ao Zhang and the other 5 dragons alone? Other than being killed by Long Sea, what other possibility could there be?" "The problem is," Ao Shang replied, "Ao Zhang and the other 5 dragons' brains weren't eaten by Long Sea." Hiss! Ao Shang's words were like a bolt of lightning, instantly waking Xiaohua up. He had a strange feeling in his heart. Then, he reached out his hand and took out the body of a dragon. He said anxiously, "Could it be that Ao Zhang is the same as this dragon? Hee, you actually killed one of my dragon race's descendants?" Ao Shang chuckled. "Now I've caught you red-handed. Not good." Xiaohua looked at the wound on his chest that was torn by a sharp weapon and exclaimed, "There are other dragon domain beasts in this stacked jade legacy realm. These beasts eat the heart and lungs of the dragon race." Impossible, right? What other dragon domain beasts can there be?" Ao Shang was stunned. Little White Dragon and Dragon Vein Xiaohua also quivered. After all, Long Sea almost killed the dragon race that was training. If another one came, who would be able to escape? Quickly run! Why hasn't the stacked jade legacy realm closed? At this moment, there was a burst of chaos in the distance. Shocked voices and miserable cries could be heard. "Shao! Daoist Shao!" Ao Zhan flew over from the distance. As he flew, he shouted loudly, Quickly run! There's a beast!" While he was speaking, a several zhang large black figure flew up from the ground. This black figure moved slightly and immediately disappeared in the air. When it reappeared, it had already landed on top of Ao Zhan's head. How could it be? When Xiaohua saw that black figure, he unconsciously looked like a mortal who had seen a ghost. His face was deathly pale, and an incredulous cry of surprise escaped his mouth. He was actually 10 times more surprised than when he saw Long Sea. What blocked Ao Zhan's head was a several zhang large strange insect. Half of this strange insect's size was its head. There were 2 long feelers on its head. The feelers were serrated. They looked very sharp. Behind the feelers were 2 skull-sized pitch-black spots. This pitch-black spot seemed to be made up of thousands of even smaller pitch-black spots. Looking at the strange insect's body again, it was slightly protruding. Layers of gray spots stacked together. The gray spots converged at the strange insect's tail, condensing into a several-inch-long spike. The spike emitted a grayish-black color. On both sides of the strange insect's body, there was a pair of several zhang long wings. When they flapped, they emitted a black light. Under the wings, there were 2 even longer hind legs on its abdomen, like a pair of long halberds. Those hind legs streaked across the air, setting off strands of ripples. It actually tore the space apart. Wasn't this the strange insect that Xiaohua and Sun Jian joined hands to kill in the void that year? However, this strange insect was more than 10 times bigger than the one Xiaohua had seen before. That year, that 2 qi long strange insect gave Xiaohua and Sun Jian, who were at the lower 5th grade of essence energy, a headache. If Xiaohua hadn't used his spiritual fire to launch a sneak attack, he probably wouldn't have been able to escape from the strange insect's attack. Moreover, the hind legs that Xiaohua obtained from the strange insect's body were refined into the soul execution vital light. The sharpness of those hind legs increased the might of the soul execution vital light by 30%. Now, although Xiaohua's strength had reached the upper 6th grade of essence energy and he had 2 huge dragons by his side, but how could he be a match for this strange insect? Thinking about those dragons that were easily killed by the strange insect and Ao Zhang and the others that died under the strange insect's sharp teeth, Xiaohua immediately made a decision. He then angrily roared, "Little White, don't move. I will take care of you first." Ao Shang, if you want to live, quickly carry this old man and escape. While speaking, Xiao Hua's arm shook and the universe bracelet that he didn't have time to put away shook, putting the little white dragon into the space. However, it was a bit troublesome to put Dragon Vein Xiao Hua into the space. Dragon Vein Xiao Hua couldn't enter Xiao Hua's space. Xiao Hua didn't have time to think at this time. His figure floated onto Ao Shang's back. Ao Shang roared and used the dragon race's secret technique to fly into the distance. Dragon Vein Xiao Hua flew beside Ao Shang. Fellow Dragon Vein, Xiao Hua transmitted. Can you still return to Ai's body? Dragon Vein Xiao Hua hurriedly replied. Ai's dragon body hasn't completely solidified yet, it should still be possible. All right, Xiao Hua urged. Don't resist, I will try to take you in first. Immediately, Xiao Hua's mind covered Dragon Vein Xiao Hua. Dragon Vein Xiao Hua's dragon body quickly shrank and fell into Xiao Hua's meridians. However, once Dragon Vein Xiao Hua entered Xiao Hua's body, Xiao Hua immediately felt his body sink, as if there was something heavy entering his body. Of course, this heavy feeling only lasted for a moment. On the contrary, Ao Shang's dragon body suddenly sank and he cried out in shock. Xiao Hua, why are you so heavy? Before Xiao Hua could speak, Ao Zhan's cry for help came from behind. Spiritual Master Xiao, save me. Chapter 40-45. Hearing this, Xiao Hua's heart sank. It was even heavier than when Xiao Hua entered the dragon vein just now. Ao Shang was also somewhat hesitant. He slowed down and asked in a low voice. Daoist Xiao, what should we do? Should we save him or not? Damn it, why are you asking me? Xiao Hua was going crazy. You should ask yourself. You have the Great Elder's soul in your body. The Great Elder can't appear again. Ao Shang smiled bitterly. That old man is only using my dragon body to survive, so he can't use too many divine abilities. He just used the heavenly dragon speech technique and used up too much of his yuan qi. If he uses it again, I'll really lose this primordial spirit. And if he loses this primordial spirit, the Great Elder's vitality will be greatly damaged and his position on the Dragon Island may not be stable. If the Great Elder's position is unstable, my Dragon Island may be in chaos. If the Dragon Island is in chaos. As he spoke, Ao Shang didn't dare to continue. If that's the case, why are you asking me? Xiao Hua replied snappily. I don't have the Great Elder's divine ability, so it's impossible to save Ao Zhan from that strange insect. But Ao Zhan has that crystal dragon. Ao Shang replied. Moreover, if Ao Zhan dies here, the Gue clan will have no leader, the 10 clans of the Dragon Island will not be able to gather, and even the 9 clans will be in chaos again. You're just a small clan elder. Why are you worrying so much? Xiao Hua ridiculed. Although I'm still young, I have a lot of responsibilities on my shoulders. Ao Shang's figure completely stopped. I can't let the Dragon Island fall apart. Sigh yes. Xiao Hua looked at the struggling Ao Zhan and sighed. If you don't kill this strange insect, not only will your Dragon Island not be able to come to this folded jade legacy realm, even the Dragon Island may be in danger, even the 3 continents will be in danger. Daoist has seen this strange insect before? Ao Shang suddenly realized. Daoist must have a way to kill this strange insect. I did before, Xiao Hua smiled bitterly. But this folded jade legacy realm spatial laws are changing. I can't use my divine ability, I'm afraid it won't work. Since you have it, we'll turn back now. Ao Shang said anxiously. I've already thought about it. Even if you and I manage to escape with our lives, if all the dragons in the 3 rivers and 4 seas are killed, we won't have the face to go out. Rather than that, we might as well fight to the death. All right. Xiao Hua knew that what Ao Shang said was reasonable, and this strange insect was too powerful. If he couldn't escape before the stacking jade Forgotten Realm closed, after the strange insect killed all the dragons, it would definitely attack him. He might as well take this opportunity to join forces with the dragons to kill this strange insect. We will return. Xiao Hua instructed. Instruct the dragon race of the 3 rivers and 4 seas. Not only is this strange insect proficient in devouring, its skin is also tough and thick. Ordinary dragon artifacts cannot harm it in the slightest. It's best to let it devour some spiritual objects of heaven and earth when it's unprepared, so that the spiritual objects of heaven and earth's yuan qi of heaven and earth explode. All right. Ao Sheng hurriedly moved his body, and Xiao Hua followed Ao Sheng to the strange insect. Woo! His whole body flashed with a bronze luster as he used the Heavenly Law's embodiment technique. Falling from the sky, he shouted, Ao Zhan, don't panic, this Xiao is coming. Kang! Without waiting for Xiao Hua to land, a light that was close to nothingness flashed, and one of the strange insect hind legs strangely swept across, slashing at Xiao Hua's waist. Seeing the strange insect's almost perfect sneak attack, Xiao Hua's heart turned cold. He somewhat understood why Ao Zhan was not killed by the strange insect. It was not because Ao Zhan's strength was superior, but because the strange insect used Ao Zhan to lure him and Ao Sheng. This strange insect hind legs had been lying in ambush in the void for a long time. This strange insect was much more cunning than the ones he encountered before. Xiao Hua's courage to turn back disappeared by more than half. Xiao Hua's heart moved, and he immediately took out the wishful staff. With a loud kang, the wishful staff was cut with a deep cut, and the strange insect hind legs bent again, bypassing the wishful staff. With a zang sound, the sharp point just happened to cut across the surface of Xiao Hua's body. A burning pain appeared on the surface of Xiao Hua's body, and a wound several inches deep was revealed. Xiao Hua's monster body that was tougher than a dragon's body, and his transcendence golden body that would not be damaged by ordinary magic weapons, was actually injured by the strange insect in this face-to-face encounter. That kind of indescribable horror immediately emerged from the bottom of Xiao Hua's heart. Even when facing Long Si just now, he did not feel a sense of crisis, and it suddenly shrouded Xiao Hua. I understand. Xiao Hua suddenly woke up. Could it be? The danger this Xiao has been worried about is this strange insect? However, at this time, Xiao Hua did not have time to think too much, because the strange insect's whip-like tentacles were about to hit him. These tentacles were now only a few dozen feet long, and compared to Xiao Hua's transcendence golden body, it was really insignificant, but Xiao Hua did not dare to be careless at all. Using the ethereal steps, he hurriedly dodged. This Xiao Hua will help you. When Ao Zhan saw Xiao Hua turn around to save him, he was extremely grateful. The long spear in his hand danced, stabbing at the strange insect from the side. Woo! The strange insect spread its wings, and a layer of gray fog rose up, blocking Ao Zhan's long spear. Facing this seemingly illusory fog, Ao Zhan's long spear actually could not pierce it. Ao Zhan hurriedly pulled back, and the end of his spear was about to swing out. Clang! A sound of metal rang out, and the strange insect's front leg swung, and Ao Zhan's long spear was easily cut into two. Quickly run! Xiao Hua saw that Ao Zhan was a little dazed, and hurriedly reminded him. At this time, Ao Zhan understood why he was not killed by the strange insect earlier. He shuddered, and his figure quickly retreated. It was also in the time it took for a spark to fly off a flint. Shwa! The strange insect's hind leg swayed again, and a few dozen feet long bloodline appeared from Ao Zhan's abdomen. Just a little bit more, and Ao Zhan's stomach would have been cut open by the strange insect. Ao Zhan was covered in cold sweat, and looking at this strange insect that was 100 times more terrifying than Long Si, he quickly flew away. Quickly call Ao Sheng, he has a way. At this time, what else could Xiao Hua say? He hurriedly urged Ao Zhan to find Ao Sheng. When the strange insect saw Ao Zhan escape, it did not chase after him. The eyes formed by thousands of small black pieces flashed, and its figure jumped toward Xiao Hua. The brilliance around Xiao Hua's body flashed again, and his body shrank, returning to its normal size. He waved the wishful staff and fought with the strange insect. Shwa! In just a few moves, the strange insect's front leg slashed, and its speed was comparable to lightning. Xiao Hua could not dodge at all, and a deep wound appeared on his back. However, this wound had just appeared, and the demonic qi in the blood surged, quickly repairing it. However, before this wound could be repaired, whoosh! Another hind leg stretched out from the void, adding another wound on Xiao Hua's back. Damn it, I don't have the strength to fight back at all. How can this be? Xiao Hua's heart was clenched together. He was originally good at physical strength, and almost invincible in close combat, but all of this was child's play in front of this strange insect. His Taoist, Confucian, Buddhist, and other supernatural powers were restricted, so how could he fight with this strange insect? Now that the spatial laws have changed, This Zhao's spiritual fire can't be activated. Either I use the demonic body, or that white bone. Xiao Hua used the ethereal steps to desperately resist as he thought in his heart. At this time, a strange hiss came from his ears. Xiao Hua was startled and hurriedly looked over. He saw a pitch-black dot of light falling in front of him like a meteor. It was the tail of the strange insect. Its sharp stinger tore through the void. Before Xiao Hua could react, it had already pierced his forehead. It was the location of the delusion breaker Dharma Eye. Damn it! Xiao Hua's forehead seemed to be split open by a sharp sword, and there was a sharp pain in the illusion breaker eye. This sudden attack of the strange insect was really powerful, and Xiao Hua was actually forced to the end, without any strength to dodge. Wang wang wang. At this critical moment, strange sounds came from all around, and dozens of strange things flew out from midair. These things were like a beehive, and the sound of wind blew out from hundreds of holes, and they also emitted the fragrance of people. The body of the strange insect suddenly stopped, and it gave up on Xiao Hua, suddenly turned around. With a wave of its antennae, the dozens of things were immediately split in half, and a golden liquid flowed out from these things. That strange insect opened its sawtooth mouth and sucked on the nearest thing, and the liquid dripped into the body of the strange insect. Woo-woo! The fog around the strange insect's body rose again, and its entire body swelled up by half, but in just a moment, the strange insect returned to its original state and pounced on another thing. Xiao Hua escaped death by the skin of his teeth, and a layer of cold sweat appeared on his back. That rock-hard arm of his couldn't help but tremble slightly. He didn't dare to make another sound, and urged his body to quietly fly away slowly. And far away, Ao Shang, Ao Zhan, and a few other dragons were standing in midair carefully, and each of them took out their dragon shell. Those dozens of things were the underwater spiritual objects that the dragons of the West Sea Dragon Palace took out. Ao Shang. Xiao Hua didn't have time to say anything, and transmitted his voice. Ordinary spiritual objects are completely useless. We need to use foreign objects. I understand. Ao Shang smiled bitterly. My Three Rivers Four Seas dragon race has countless treasures, and this morning dregs is also one of them. There are also things that are richer in spiritual energy than this morning dregs, but the problem is, we came to the folded jadeite legacy realm to train. Who would bring so many spiritual objects? Then, facing this extremely vicious strange insect, Xiao Hua really didn't have many divine abilities that he could use, and he was somewhat helpless. Raising his head to look at the faintly discernible folded jadeite in midair, Xiao Hua asked again, when will the folded jadeite legacy realm close? If we can't kill this strange insect, I'm afraid we can only lure it to the Dragon Island. No, definitely not. Ao Shang shook his head resolutely. Swoosh! Just as they were discussing, that strange insect suddenly abandoned the morning dregs, and with a flash, it suddenly appeared in front of a dragon. Without waiting for that dragon to react, the strange insect's hind leg slashed, and the dragon's chest and abdomen were instantly torn apart. The strange insect's entire body sank into the dragon's body, and in just a moment, its sharp teeth stretched out, and it was precisely the dragon's heart and lungs that were swallowed into its mouth. Looking at the bloody strange insect coming out of the dragon's chest and abdomen, the group of dragons suddenly dispersed. Facing this strange foreign object, the always valiant dragon race was like a helpless beggar. Chapter 40-46. Damn it! This strange insect should have the strength of a 9th grade essence energy, right? Ao Zhan cursed as he fled. Thinking about how he escaped from the strange insect just now, it was a miracle. Don't run too far. Ao Shang suddenly shouted, let's take out the spiritual items in the dragon shell and try to attract this strange insect to eat the spiritual items. If we scatter, we can only let this strange insect kill us one by one. The time of the stacked jade Forgotten Realm is almost up. Let's hold on for a while more. Ao Zhan also stopped. The princes of the Three Seas Dragon Palace also seemed to have woken up and stopped running. They all hurriedly took out the dragon shell and nervously rummaged through it, trying to find a spiritual item that could save their lives. The stacked jade spring flower in the stacked jade Forgotten Realm had already gradually disappeared. The true dragon tablet in Xiao Hua's hand also emitted a faint fluctuation, but this fluctuation was not enough to send them out of the stacked jade Forgotten Realm. Shwa! After the strange insect finished eating the dragon's heart and lungs, it moved again and teleported to the side of the East Sea Dragon Palace. The dragons of the East Sea Dragon Palace trembled as they took out a few bright dragon pearls. After the strange insect swallowed them, its body grew a bit bigger and the mist around it surged, looking very carefree. After that, the strange insect teleported again and pounced on a dragon beside Ao Shang, obviously wanting to devour the dragon's flesh and blood again. Ao! Ao Shang roared again as a mountainous dragon's aura appeared. The Dragon Palace Great Elder could not tolerate the strange insect eating his people in front of him, so he revealed himself again. Woo! The Great Elder's dragon's aura appeared and immediately attracted the strange insect's attention. The strange insect left the dragon and pounced on the Great Elder. Xiaohua, help me block it for a moment. The Great Elder quickly retreated as dragon chi surged around him as he ordered loudly. Xiaohua was very helpless. He took out the wishful staff in one hand and some spiritual herbs and magic treasures in the other hand as he fought with the strange insect. Even with the spiritual herbs, in just a moment, Xiaohua's body had several more wounds. Roar roar! Several obscure dragon language came out from the Great Elder's mouth. Around the strange insect, a crystal shackled and this crystal shackled the strange insect. Boom! With a loud sound, the strange insect was flattened by the crystal. But in the blink of an eye, the strange insect's flat body landed on the crystal and began to devour it. On the other hand, the first elder's body became weak again. Xiaohua! Suddenly, the first elder's voice came from Xiaohua's ears. This old man will entrust Ao Shang to you. You have to bring him out of the stacked jade legacy realm. What are you doing? Xiaohua had a bad feeling in his heart. He looked at Ao Shang's dragon armor and saw a ball of blood-red light. The ball of light let out a roar similar to the dragon language and turned into a crystal dragon that pounced on the strange insect. Woo! As soon as the strange insect saw the crystal dragon, it immediately abandoned the crystal and flapped its wings towards the crystal dragon. Whoosh! Facing the sharp teeth of the strange insect, the crystal dragon suddenly accelerated and rushed into it. Boom! With a loud bang, the left side of the strange insect's body was torn apart. Xiaohua understood that this was the great clan elder abandoning his primordial spirit and wanting to perish together with this strange insect. However, the first elder still underestimated this strange insect. After the small half of the strange insect's body was torn apart, the mist around its body was born again. Strands of mist shuttled between the strange insect's body and immediately repaired it. Looking at the eyes of the strange insect, it was staring at Ao Shang, who had already lost his strength. It was ready to split his chest and abdomen open at any time and devour the delicious dragon's heart and lungs. Quick! Xiaohua reminded, and without hesitation, he took out a lot of spiritual grass and threw it in the air, wanting to attract the strange insect's attention. Buzz buzz! At this moment, a faint buzzing sound came from the distance, and a few balls of light appeared. A dragon cried out with a sad and happy voice. My true dragon card has been activated. The stacked jade legacy realm is finally closing. Unfortunately, before he could finish speaking, the strange insect's figure flashed and appeared in front of him. There was no suspense at all. Wherever its tentacles passed, not only was the true dragon token annihilated, but even the dragon clan was split into two. Run, run, run! Ao Shang shouted loudly. Those dragons who were like earthworms and didn't dare to use their divine abilities immediately scattered. As the true dragon cards flashed, they disappeared on the spot one by one. Woo-woo! The strange insect chased after these lights. Although some of the dragons disappeared, they were still killed by the strange insect. Roar! Ao Shang was anxious and pounced at the strange insect with a roar. Xiaohua was even more shocked and shouted, Damn it, Ao Shang, do you want to die? With that said, Xiaohua also hurriedly rushed over, throwing out spirit grass and magic treasures one by one, wanting to attract the strange insect. Ao Shang was not a fool. Seeing that the strange insect was attracted by him, he hurriedly flew towards Xiaohua, and in the dragon claw, he threw out one item after another. Woo-woo! The strange insect flew over and swallowed all the spiritual grass and other things. These spiritual grass and other things were not special. The mist around the strange insect's body did not have any special changes. Seeing that the strange insect was about to pounce, Ao Shang screamed and threw out the long bay in his hand. The heroic spirit from before was completely gone. He shouted, "Xiaohua, save me!" "Nonsense!" Xiaohua used the wishful rod to tease the strange insect. "What are you screaming for? Aren't you courting death?" Wang Wang. At this moment, the true dragon card in Ao Shang's hand flashed and covered Ao Shang. After the strange insect swallowed Ao Shang's long bay, its hind legs drew a line in the air and pierced into the brilliance of the true dragon card very easily. "Be careful, Ao Shang." Xiaohua was shocked. Ao Shang was about to fall under the strange insect's hind legs. Woo! Suddenly, a scene that Xiaohua was familiar with occurred. The strange insect's body emitted an intense rumbling sound, and the strange insect's body instantly expanded to a size of 300 meters. Then, the gray mist flourished, and the strange insect shrunk again to a size of 100 meters. This process repeated 3 times, and the strange insect's body could no longer be controlled. It expanded to a size of 300 meters, and with a loud bang, it completely exploded. How is this possible? Isn't this too strange? Xiaohua was dumbstruck. His body was blown 100 feet away by this explosion. Wang Wang. At this moment, Xiaohua's true dragon card also began to flash with brilliance. However, after a few breaths, all the other dragons disappeared along with the brilliance of the true dragon card. However, the brilliance of Xiaohua's true dragon card flickered several times and his body still couldn't disappear. Damn it, what's going on? Xiaohua was a little anxious. Looking at the nearby space that was beginning to distort in the Forgotten Realm, he knew that the time in the Forgotten Realm had begun to change. In a flash, Xiaohua suddenly thought, "Dragon vein Xiaohua. Damn it, it must be. He is now in this Xiao's body, and his dragon body was condensed by the dragon cleansing pool. This true dragon card probably can't bring the dragon spiritual energy of the dragon domain back to the dragon island. But the problem is, why can't dragon vein Xiaohua enter the space? Could it be because of the dragon spiritual energy? But if little white dragon can, why can't he? If I want to return to the dragon island, this Xiao is afraid that this Xiao will have to conceal dragon vein Xiaohua's dragon spiritual energy." Thinking of this, Xiaohua tried to use the Devil Realm's blood drop paradise to conceal dragon vein Xiaohua. Sure enough, as the devil blood surged, Xiaohua's body slightly blurred and was about to disappear. Hee, don't worry. The moment Xiaohua's figure disappeared, the greedy Xiaohua smiled again. His figure reappeared and he hurriedly flew in all directions. He released his divine sense and collected the corpse of the strange insect, as well as the dragon shell and dragon body scattered on the ground. He collected them all into the space. After a meal, seeing that the surrounding scenery was already blurred, Xiaohua urged the devil blood to completely conceal dragon vein Xiaohua. Only then did his body completely disappear. Light and shadow fluctuated. An indescribable feeling emerged from Xiaohua's Naiwen palace. It was as if a huge hand was vigorously shaking him. This was something Xiaohua had never encountered before. When the scenery in front of Xiaohua's eyes stopped, an extremely disgusting feeling surged up. Xiaohua's body couldn't help but curl up. He released his consciousness vigilantly. However, when he saw the surroundings clearly, he put it down again. Ao Shang's slightly mocking voice rang in his ears. "Spiritual Master Xiao, how is it? How does it feel to go back in time?" Xiaohua knew that Ao Shang was somewhat dissatisfied with his coercion in the stacked jade ruins, so he simply ignored him. He closed his eyes and rested. The feeling of heaven and earth spinning slowly disappeared. Then he straightened his body and stretched his body. In front of him was still the Dragon Island. The serene blue sea water filled the surroundings. Although Xiaohua couldn't take a long breath of fresh air like usual, this tranquil and safe atmosphere was enough to make him feel relaxed and happy. Xiaohua turned around and looked behind him. The huge rock that was 10,000 zhong tall had now recovered. Other than a few deep cracks on the surface of the huge rock, it was no different from before. The dragon soldiers and dragon generals who were previously guarding this place with bright armor were already very few. Looking at the huge rock and thinking about the bloody storm that happened within the huge rock in just a moment, Xiaohua felt as if a lifetime had passed. "Spiritual Master," Ao Shang said with a smile behind him, "you helped the Great Elder to kill Long Sea and even helped me kill the Dragon Realm's strange insects. You saved thousands of my dragons who were training in the stacked Jade Legacy Realm. You have done a great service to my Dragon Island. My Dragon Palace's 9th elder is already waiting in the Dragon Palace, ready to reward you. Spiritual master, please. Oh. Xianxia was startled. He secretly pondered in his heart. That strange insect was obviously killed by Ao Shang. How did it fall on his head? However, when he saw Ao Shang winking at him, he seemed to have understood something. Xiaohua's expression didn't change. He slightly nodded and replied, "Since I was blessed by the Dragon Island and entered the stacked jade ruins to train, I naturally had to consider the safety of the descendants of the Dragon Island. Killing Long Si and the strange insect was also considered for my own safety. There's no need to be too grand." Ao Sheng laughed. "Spiritual master, leave these words for the Dragon Palace." "Don't worry." Xiaohua raised his hand and asked, "Where's the Dragon Clan of the West Sea Dragon Palace?" "I want to find that old turtle Xianxia." "Oh? Why are you looking for Xianxia?" Ao Sheng was slightly startled. However, he immediately came back to his senses and laughed. "Is it because Xianxia slandered you for killing Ao Zhang of the North Sea Dragon Palace?" "Of course." Xiaohua clenched his teeth until they creaked. "This guy hit me when I'm down. How can I forgive him?" Chapter 40-47. Forget it. Ao Sheng waved his hand and said, "He doesn't know you, what's there to add insult to injury? Besides, you should have fought with Ao Zhang, right? It's not wrong for him to speculate based on that." Xiaohua and Xiancheng were both well aware of the secret between the two of them. No one dared to say it. Of course, Xiaohua couldn't say anything to Ao Shang at this time. He could only insist, "No, I can't be slandered for no reason. If you came out 3 days earlier, naturally you can." Ao Shang shrugged his shoulders, stretched out his dragon claw, and said helplessly, "Unfortunately, you came out now. The Dragon Palace of the Four Seas suffered a lot in the folded jade ruins. They had already left the Dragon Island in a hurry. Where are you going to find them?" 3 days? Xiaohua was stunned. "I clearly only stayed in the folded jade ruins for the time of a meal." "The time of the folded jade ruins has begun to change." Ao Shang explained, "Your meal in there is naturally 3 days in the Dragon Island. It's like a day in the Immortal Palace is equivalent to a year in the hidden Immortal continent." Speaking of this, Ao Shang's face showed that he was thinking and said softly, "What was Daoist doing in there during the time of a meal? Oh, damn it, my poor dragon shell, that's a treasure that I've plundered for God knows how many years, all of a sudden. It's all gone." "You know what's inside, right?" Xiaohua hurriedly asked. "What treasure is so useful? I presume you have a plan in these 3 days?" Ao Shang replied with a sad face. "Indeed. I thought for these 3 days. I also have a plan in my heart. It's probably a treasure called the Saint Dragon Seal. Alas, what a pity for my other treasures. Why did I?" Speaking of this, Ao Shang immediately came over, lowered his head and said, "Daoist, what were you doing in there during the time of a meal?" "What can I do?" Xiaohua jumped and said, "You think I didn't want to come out? I was trapped inside and couldn't get out. Damn it, you scared me to death. If I can't get out now, the next time you see me, I'm afraid you'll be like Ao Jiao." "How can I not get out?" Ao Shang was a little puzzled. "Can't you use your true dragon plate?" "Of course I can. But that person can't." Xiaohua replied somewhat resentfully. Ao Shang was shocked, but he still mumbled doubtfully, "Jinren, if you have any ideas, you can say them now. Once we get to the Dragon Palace, you won't have the chance." Xiaohua glared at him and said fiercely, "Nonsense, isn't it because of you? Why didn't you tell me earlier that Grand Elder's primordial spirit is in your body?" Ao Shang shrunk his neck and his voice became even softer. "I wouldn't dare. So, your Long Bei was thrown away for nothing. You won't be able to get your Saint Dragon insignia back. Serves you right." Xiaohua said, then urged again, "Why aren't you bringing me to the Dragon Palace Hall?" "All right." Ao Shang looked around. He had been guarding this place for 3 days because he wanted to get some benefits from Xiaohua. Unfortunately, Xiaohua was stingy. It seemed like his 3 days of waiting had been wasted. Above the Dragon Palace Hall, it was a little different from before. It really revealed the true appearance of the Dragon Palace Hall. The 10 dragon pillars seemed to be connected to the heavens and the earth as they stood above the huge dragon-shaped hall. The surroundings were filled with endless 10,000 dragon catalog. The 9 elders were coiled around the dragon pillars. They seemed to be very far away, but also seemed to be very close. The entire hall was filled with a solemn dragon's might. Xianxia came to the Dragon Palace Hall, and Ao Sheng quietly retreated to the side. The great elder's voice sounded, "Zhenren Xiao, we have already heard from Ao Sheng about this time's experience in the Stacking Jade Legacy realm. Zhenren's contribution is great. If it wasn't for Zhenren's strength, I'm afraid that my dragon clan would have been completely annihilated. This old man thanks Zhenren." With that, the great elder raised his dragon claw and bowed solemnly. Xiaohua didn't dare to be negligent, and hurriedly bowed and said, "Just now, Junior has already told Ao Sheng about this matter. Junior used the Dragon Clan's legacy realm to train, so naturally, I have to contribute to the Dragon Clan. Great Elder is too polite. Zhenren Xiao is righteous." The Great Elder sighed. Zhenren entered the Stacking Jade legacy realm to train. This old man also hurriedly looked up Zhenren's actions in these years. Not only this old man, all the elders of my Dragon Palace Hall were moved by Zhenren's compassion for the state of the universe. Our Dragon Palace Hall has never seen a Taoist cultivator like Zhenren who cares about the common people of the world. Oh! Xiaohua's eyes turned, and hurriedly took out a pile of universe bangles and dragon shell from his bosom, and said with a smile, "Since that's the case, I'll have to trouble Dragon Island with these grains. The 3 rivers and 4 seas, and the 3 continents are really big. This Xiao's strength is not enough, and there are many places that I can't go to. Please borrow the power of Dragon Island to spread these grains all over the world, so that there will no longer be hungry people in this world." Ah! The Great Elder was stunned, but he immediately nodded. "The merit of this matter is immeasurable. Although my Dragon Clan doesn't cultivate merit, how can my Dragon Island miss such a good thing in front of us? Fourth Elder, this matter will be supervised by you." "Yes, Great Elder." On the distant stone pillar, the Great Elder scooped up the universe bangles and dragon shell from Xiaohua's hands with a huge dragon claw. "Junior thanks Dragon Island on behalf of the common people of the world." Xiaohua hurriedly bowed. "All right." The Great Elder nodded. "This matter has already passed. Taoist Master Xiao, can I trouble you to tell us a little bit about the experience in the Stacking Jade Legacy realm? Although Ao Sheng and the other Dragon Clan descendants have already verbally reported, there are still some secrets that we don't know." Xiaohua understood the Great Elder's a little bit of explanation. He nodded and said, "Even if Great Elder didn't mention this matter, Junior would still have to report it, so as to avoid any problems in the future when Dragon Island's descendants are training." Immediately after, Xiaohua told everything that he had experienced. Of course, he used the 9 false and 1 real technique to perfection, so he wasn't afraid of being seen through by the Dragon Clan's 9th Elder. Sigh. After listening, the 2nd Elder sighed and said, "This old man really didn't expect that this time's training in the Stacking Jade Legacy realm would actually have so many strange things appear. Not only did Dragon Domain's Long Sea appear, even the strange insects from the other domain came. In front of these strange insects, my valiant Dragon Clan simply couldn't withstand a single blow. If there are a few more of these strange insects, my Dragon Island will be in trouble." Taoist Master Xiao, that method of killing the strange insects is... The 6th Elder hesitated for a moment and asked. Xiaohua shrugged and said with a bitter smile. At that time, Junior was panicking and took out a lot of spiritual items from the Chenkuan pouch. Junior is also not clear about the effect of those spiritual items. However, from Junior's experience of fighting with the strange insects twice, this strange insect can only be killed in this way. Taoist Master, where did you encounter the strange insects last time? The 4th Elder asked probingly. Xiaohua said with a smile, "This is Junior's secret, forgive me for not being able to report it." "And, let's not talk about this anymore." The Great Elder nodded. "If Taoist Master Xiao didn't have this kind of experience, my Dragon Clan would have suffered even more losses. However, Taoist Master Xiao, your human clan emphasizes on being buried in peace. My Dragon Clan also emphasizes on being still after being overturned. The Dragon Clan's corpses also have a special way to bury them, so that their corpses won't be disturbed by outsiders." Hearing the Great Elder's change of topic, Xiaohua immediately understood. He took out another Chenkuan bracelet and respectfully handed it over. "Junior also has the same idea." Junior also felt grief in my heart when I saw the fall of the Dragon Clan members who were training together with me. Junior can't do anything for them. I can only bring them out of the folded jade ruins and let them return to the embrace of Dragon Island. Good. Seeing Xiao Hua take out the Chenkuan bracelet, the Great Elder stretched out his dragon claw and took it. He looked at it with his origin sense and couldn't help but be moved. He looked left and right, then handed it over to the second elder and said, Taoist Master Xiao is indeed a trustworthy person. This old man admires you. The second elder and the others looked at the Chenkuan bracelet, and their faces also revealed a sad expression. Elders. Seeing that the second elder and the others didn't speak, the great elder opened his mouth and said, Taoist Master Xiao is extremely benevolent to my Dragon Island. Then his request, do you think we can agree to it? Of course we can. The fourth elder was the first to express his opinion. That Long Yu was originally found by Xiao Hua, and he also promised to return it after comprehending it. I don't think there's anything wrong with letting him comprehend it. The eighth elder also opened his mouth. Moreover, Xiao Hua has a true dragon on him. Cough cough. The great elder coughed softly and stopped the eighth elder from speaking. He turned his head and asked the second elder, Second elder, what do you think? Let's ask that immortal friend to come out first. The second elder's expression didn't change as he replied. Good. The great elder nodded his head solemnly and said to Xiao Hua, Taoist Master Xiao, can you ask that true dragon to come out and meet us? Xiao Hua knew that the ugly daughter-in-law would have to meet her parents-in-law in the end. If he only molded the body of Little White Dragon, the Dragon Palace's ninth elder might not care too much. However, he molded the body of Dragon Vein Xiao Hua, such a big scene. How could the Dragon Palace's ninth elder turn a blind eye to it? Thus, Xiao Hua agreed and slapped his forehead. Roar! A loud and clear dragon's roar resounded throughout the Dragon Palace. Dragon Vein Xiao Hua flew out from Xiao Hua's body. Swish! The moment Dragon Vein Xiao Hua appeared, not only was the entire Dragon Palace filled with clouds and wind, even all of the desolate catalog swayed. Countless dragons' roars flew out from within, as if they were crawling to welcome him. Following the appearance of the Dragon Palace, the dragon's might around Dragon Vein Xiao Hua's body was also emitted. It rose little by little and rushed straight to the top of the Dragon Palace. Even Dragon Vein Xiao Hua's body was also suffused with 9 colors, reflecting the sparkling and translucent dragon's horn. The brilliance sprinkled all over the Dragon Palace. Buzz! A huge rumbling sound came from the center of the Dragon Palace. The 10 stone pillars began to tremble, emitting different brilliance and fluctuations. The fluctuations and brilliance were so intense that the 9 elders of the Dragon Palace no longer dared to circle around the stone pillars. They flew away from the stone pillars and stopped in midair. Great Elder's primordial spirit had seen Dragon Vein Xiao Hua in the stacked Jade Legacy realm. Unfortunately, his primordial spirit had already been destroyed in the stacked Jade Legacy realm. Now that he saw Dragon Vein Xiao Hua again, his face was similarly as shocked as the other 8 great elders. While second elder was surprised, his eyes flashed with other expressions. Ao Jia greets the Holy Dragon. Ao E greets the Holy Dragon. Ao Bing greets the Holy Dragon. Ao Ding greets the Holy Dragon. Ao Wu greets the Holy Dragon. Ao Ji greets the Holy Dragon. Ao Gung greets the Holy Dragon. Ao Xian greets the Holy Dragon. Ao Ren greets the Holy Dragon. The 9th elder of the Dragon Palace did not dare to be negligent and bowed. Chapter 40-48. Hearing this, Xiao Hua almost burst out laughing. He had been guessing the name of the Dragon Island's great elder, but he never thought that the name of the Dragon Palace's 9th elder was actually from the heavenly stems and earthly branches. Dragon Vein Xiao Hua's body coiled in the air. Although he didn't pose, the dragon cleansing pool formed his body. His body was completely formed from the spiritual energy of the stacked Jade Legacy realm. The majesty didn't allow him to be careless. Dragon Vein Xiao Hua opened his mouth and said, Fellow immortals, I haven't completely condensed my body yet. I can't be considered a saint dragon. You don't have to be so polite. I's body condensation is now my top priority. I won't waste any more time here. If you have anything to say, you can tell Taoist Master Xiao. Yes. Although Dragon Bloodline Xiao Hua said so, Ao Jia and the other elders did not dare to be negligent and agreed respectfully. However, before Ao Jia could finish speaking, Second Elder Aoe hurriedly said. Shenglong, I don't know how many years it has been since a five-clawed true dragon appeared on Dragon Island. The position of Dragon Palace's 10th Elder has always been empty. I implore Shenglong to stay on Dragon Island and inherit the name of Ao Gue and take charge of our Dragon Island's Ho clan. No need. Dragon Vein Xiao Hua's body swayed. As he landed on Xiao Hua's body, he replied, I haven't completely condensed my body yet. Let's not talk about this matter. As Dragon Vein Xiao Hua entered Xiao Hua's body, the phenomenon of the entire Dragon Palace slowly disappeared. The 9 elders could no longer sit on the stone pillars peacefully. They heard Ao Shang talk about the stacked Jade Legacy Realm's abnormality. They also heard Xiao Hua say it again. It wasn't that there weren't any dragons who condensed their bodies in the stacked Jade Legacy Realm. However, none of the dragons had ever seen Dragon Vein Xiao Hua condensing his body, let alone the appearance of the legendary 5-clawed Saint Dragon. Now that they saw it with their own eyes, it was completely the aura of the upper realm's dragon domain. That kind of incomparably holy dragon aura made them completely believe that Dragon Vein Xiao Hua was a genuine 5-clawed Saint Dragon. Ao Jia stood in the air with a complicated expression on his face. He looked at Xiao Hua and said, Taoist Master Xiao, can you explain the origin of the Saint Dragon to us? After all, Dragon Island has reconstructed their bodies in the dragon cleansing pool, but we've never reconstructed a holy dragon. Xiao Hua smiled bitterly and replied very seriously, First Elder, everything this Xiao said earlier is true. He didn't hide anything. Besides, do you think there's a need for me to hide it? Taoist Master Xiao, there's no need to say any more. Second Elder Aoe smiled and said, All of this was arranged by the dragon ancestor. The appearance of the legendary Gue race on Dragon Island is a sign of the prosperity of the dragon race. The position of the 10th Elder of the Dragon Palace belongs to Shenglong. Shenglong is a 5-clawed true dragon. How can he be lower than the 10th Elder? The 4th Elder hurriedly said, Even we can't stand shoulder to shoulder with Shenglong, right? When Xiao Hua saw that the Dragon Palace was about to have an internal strife, he hastily waved his hand and said, Junior is a Dao sect cultivator. That fellow Immortal also said clearly that he is also a Dao sect cultivator. He won't get involved in the internal affairs of the Dragon Island. I ask for the Elder's understanding. First Elder Ao Jia heaved a sigh of relief and nodded. If Spiritual Master Xiao says so, then I won't force you. That won't do. Second Elder Aoe shook his head and said, If Shenglong is not a member of the Dragon Island, how can Long Yu be given to him to comprehend? But Long Yu was found by Spiritual Master Xiao. 4th Elder Ao Ding was unhappy. 9th Elder Ao Ran tried to smooth things over. Why don't we let Spiritual Master Xiao have a name on the Dragon Island? Wouldn't that be the best of both worlds? Second Elder Aoe rolled his eyes and smiled. He said, Although Shenglong has not completely condensed his body and can't live up to the name of Ao Gue, why don't Spiritual Master Xiao temporarily take over the position of the 10th Elder? When Xiao Hua heard that, how could he not know that Aoe was using him to compete with Ao Zhan? He hastily waved his hand. I'm just a human cultivator. How can I be an elder of the Dragon Palace? Second Elder, you're flattering me. First Elder Ao Jia's head turned quickly and he winked at the 4th Elder. 4th Elder Ao Ding's eyes lit up and he said with a smile, Spiritual Master Xiao, if you don't want to do anything practical, it's necessary to take on an empty position. Since Spiritual Master Xiao has given the 5-clawed true dragon a new lease of life, then you're half a teacher to the Dragon Clan. Why don't we invite Spiritual Master Xiao to be the Dragon Master of the Dragon Clan? Dragon Master? Xiao Hua was slightly stunned and didn't understand. However, he immediately declined and waved his hand. He said, There's a saying in the human race, a teacher is a father, imparting knowledge and dispelling doubts. How can this junior be the Dragon Master? 4th Elder, you must be joking. No way, absolutely not. First Elder Ao Jia nodded. Let's do it this way. Spiritual Master Xiao, don't decline. Dragon Master is just an empty title. Moreover, this title is for Shenglong. You're more than qualified to be the Dragon Master of Shenglong. Previously, I was still having a headache about how to thank Spiritual Master for taking care of the Dragon Clan. With the title of Dragon Master, firstly, it's to express the goodwill of the Dragon Clan. Secondly, It's to convey the respect of the Dragon Island to the 3 continents. Fourth Elder said with a smile at the side. With the title of Dragon Master, if the Immortal Palace wants to touch Spiritual Master, they must also be wary of the title of Dragon Master of the Dragon Island, right? Hearing this, Xiaohua muttered to himself. Although he didn't come to the Dragon Island to seek protection from the Dragon Island, he couldn't refuse the kindness of the Dragon Island. With the title of Dragon Master, not only would the Immortal Palace be wary, even the Dragon Palace of the 4 Seas wouldn't dare to touch him, right? If he wanted Xianxia's body, wouldn't the Dragon Palace of the West Sea obediently deliver it to him? All right. Xiaohua nodded and bowed. Junior thanks all the seniors for taking care of me. Haha, you're welcome. The happiest one was naturally the 2nd Elder Aoe. He said, since Spiritual Master Xiao has become the Dragon Master of the Dragon Clan, we'll be a clan in the future. There's no need to hide some of the secrets of the Dragon Clan from Spiritual Master Xiao. Hee, Junior's knowledge is limited. I don't dare to comment on the affairs of the Dragon Clan. Xiaohua hurriedly declined. He looked at the silent Ao Shang at the side and said, furthermore, Junior and Ao Shang were training in the Stacked Jade Legacy Realm this time. I saw that many of the elites of the Dragon Clan had died. I'm afraid it's somewhat unfavorable for the Dragon Clan. I just don't know if the things we found are useful to the Dragon Clan? We haven't found any useful clues yet. The Great Elder was afraid that the 2nd Elder would say something else. He hurriedly sighed and said, however, since it was left behind in the Stacked Jade Legacy Realm, there must be a reason. Let us slowly comprehend it. I hope that thing can help the Dragon Clan. Xiaohua thought for a moment. He had a lot of questions to ask the Great Elder. For example, what was the golden core in the deep air abyss, and what was the crystal dragon? However, he didn't know what the Great Elder's arrangement was. He didn't want the Dragon Clan to know that he had obtained the golden core. He also didn't want to get involved in the internal affairs of the Dragon Clan. Therefore, he could only hide all his questions in his stomach. Oh, Great Elder, may I ask, other than the Dragon Clan members who came to the Dragon Island to gain experience in the Stacking Emerald Legacy Realm, have the other human descendants who came to the Dragon Island to gain experience left the Dragon Island? Xiaohua was thinking about how to bid farewell in his heart, so he changed the topic and asked. The Great Elder said with a smile, the training in the Stacked Jade Legacy Realm is the longest. The training in the other forbidden areas has already ended. Those human descendants and demon descendants have already left the Dragon Island on the dragons. Very good. Xiaohua said with a smile, then Junior will also prepare to leave. That's right, Dragon Master Xiao. The 4th Elder suddenly spoke, the human cultivator who came to the Dragon Island with you, Ao Zhantian, didn't come out from the Smoke Tree training area. However, I did ask one of the descendants of the monster race who went in with him. According to him, he was searching for a Dao Gate spiritual treasure in one of the forbidden grounds of the Smoke Tree. When the descendant came out, he received a distress signal from Ao Zhantian. However, according to the message, that demon descendant didn't find any trace of Ao Zhantian. Ah! Xiaohua was stunned and hurriedly asked, then has the Smoke Tree been closed? Hee. The 4th Elder said with a smile, our Dragon Island usually opens the clear snow, Baotu, autumn wave, evening glow, spring cuteness, smoke tree, and dawn moon. These 7 places are different from the Stacked Jade Legacy Realm. They are not closed. However, when the time is up, the descendants will be forced to leave. Ao Zhantian hasn't left yet. He might have died or been trapped in the forbidden area. If you want to find him, you can go and take a look. Thank you, 4th Elder. Xiaohua bowed and thanked. May I know if Ao Zhantian left a message talisman? The message talisman has already been abandoned by that demon. The 4th Elder replied. However, this old man did ask for the name of the forbidden area. If you want to go, you can ask Ao Shang to bring you there. All right, then I'll have to trouble you. Xiaohua raised his hand and said, if it's possible, this junior wants to go now. Ao Shang. Great Elder Ao Jia nodded and ordered, follow this Xiaohua to the Smoke Tree. Yes, this boy obeys. Ao Shang, who was in the Dragon Palace, was abnormally obedient. After Xiaohua left the Dragon Palace with Ao Shang, the 4th Elder pondered for a moment and said, Great Elder, Xiaohua's matter will be settled as such for now. His strength is still shallow and his 5-clawed true dragon body has yet to fully materialize. Our Dragon Island has already done what we should do. The only thing left is to wait for him to grow. At this time, I think we should discuss the Gui tribe's matter. Great Elder, the Gui tribe has been rebelling for a long time and has caused great harm to our Dragon Island. Our Dragon Palace has been more lenient in the past. During this time's training, the Gui tribe didn't forget to cause trouble. If we suddenly pardon their crimes now, I'm afraid it's not very appropriate. Second Elder Aoe had a different opinion. The Great Elder waved his hand and said, "It's very difficult for our Dragon Island's descendants to reproduce. For so many years, it's abnormally withered. The human race is 100 or 1,000 times worse than the Dragon Island. But look at the three continents. The hidden Immortal continent and the Elysium world are monopolized by the human race. They have almost become the masters of this world. Our 3 rivers and 4 seas are vaster than the 3 continents. But what about the descendants of the Dragon Island? Didn't Xianxia say it earlier? Harmony is the most precious. He, a bystander, can understand it. Why can't we? In the past, because the Dragon Jade and the Crystal Dragon scripture were stolen and lost by the Gui tribe, our 8 races have a grudge against the Gui tribe. Now that the Dragon Jade and the Crystal Dragon scripture have returned, isn't it a good opportunity and a good start? Chapter 40-49. It's not that I don't think the Ji tribe can't return. Second Elder Aoe said with a smile. I just think that without an elder to lead the Ji tribe for so many years, every branch is in a mess. It's not easy to control them. The strength of the 9 elders of the Dragon Hall was rare in the world, but the rhythm of the Dragon Hall's discussion was the same as the rhythm of the mortal world. There was no lack of delay and struggle. Naturally, Xiaohua was not interested in this. He followed Ao Shang out of the Dragon Hall and went straight to the smoke tree. Seeing that Ao Shang was very familiar with bringing him to the depths of the Dragon Island, Xiaohua frowned and suddenly asked, Ao Shang, is this smoke tree where you usually play? Of course not. Ao Shang replied without turning his head. Who would play in this place? Then how do you know which forbidden area Ao Zhantian is trapped in? Hey! Ao Shang understood what Xiaohua meant. He turned his head and threw a, "You know what I mean, look." He smiled and said, "You are now the Dragon Master. You have unlimited potential in the future. Shouldn't I be closer to you?" That's not important, right? Xiaohua sneered. You dragons. Tse, you're even more cunning than a 1,000-year-old fox. What's a 1,000-year-old fox? Ao Shang covered his mouth and laughed. The Great Elder and the others are all tens of thousands of years old. You can't beat them. Just don't ruin the Great Elder's plans. Of course I won't ruin anyone's plans. Xiaohua shrugged. In fact, I don't want to ruin anyone's plans. I just want to leave the Dragon Island peacefully. Xiaohua glanced at Ao Shang. Don't tell me Ao Zhantian's matter was arranged by the 4th Elder? The 4th Elder wouldn't do such a thing. There's no need for that. Ao Shang smiled. He's in charge of the training. Any changes in the training have to be reported to him. If it was in the past, he wouldn't care about Ao Zhantian's matter. But since it's related to you, he'll naturally pay more attention. AI, why is this Ao Zhantian so unlucky? Xiaohua sighed. He already caused so much trouble when he came to the Dragon Island, and now he's in trouble. If I didn't want to find an excuse to leave the Dragon Palace, I wouldn't have gone to look for him. Exactly. Ao Shang added, it's just a smoke tree, and he got trapped inside. What bad luck. Teacher Xiao, if you don't want to go, shall we turn back now? Xiaohua said confidently. How can that be? A gentleman's word cannot be taken back. Since this Xiao has said so, then I will definitely go and find him. As you wish. Ao Shang shrugged. This smoke tree can't be compared to the stacked Jade Legacy Realm. Since you're so powerful in the stacked Jade Legacy Realm, this smoke tree is nothing. You'll definitely succeed. Then, Ao Shang shamelessly asked Xiaohua about the deeper Yuan. Of course, Xiaohua would not hide from Ao Shang and told him everything he saw. Ao Shang's eyes lit up as he listened to Zhong Yu's explanation, and he said, Damn it, I didn't expect the deeper Yuan to be the fault that leads to the Dragon Realm. If it's possible, then I can directly enter the Dragon Field from there. Why do you have to go through so much hardship to train on Dragon Island? Forget it. Xiao Hua's face was full of disdain. If you don't train and enter the dragon field, you'll be eaten by the little dragon priest before you even show up. AI, that's true. Ao Sheng hung his head dejectedly. Long Sea is just a low-level demon beast in the dragon field. It's already so powerful in the stacked Jade Legacy realm. How many demon beasts in the dragon field can eat me? But then, Ao Sheng rolled his eyes and said in a low voice, Taoist, that crystal dragon seems to have taken a lot of time. Did you find anything from it? No. Xiao Hua shook his head decisively. I didn't plan to look at it at all. Actually, that crystal dragon was deliberately released from the deeper UN by me. TCH. Ao Sheng was disdainful. Taoist, you're just trying to trick me. In order to capture that crystal dragon, Ao Zhan and I racked our brains. In the end, Ao Zhan still used the secret technique of the Gue clan to get the crystal dragon. Taoist. I'm afraid it's not possible for you to get it right? Then what's inside the crystal dragon? Xiao Hua took the opportunity to ask. How would I know? Ao Sheng shrugged his shoulders. But according to Great Elder's deduction, it might be something left behind by the holy dragon of the dragon field or a message from the dragon field. Now that Taoist wants to know the specific situation of the deeper UN, I'm afraid it's mostly from the dragon field. So the crystal dragon was taken away by Ao Zhan just like that. Xiao Hua looked around and asked. Ao Sheng nodded. Of course. The more bargaining chips Ao Zhan has, the more advantageous it is for Great Elder. Oh right, Taoist, the dragon cleansing liquid in the dragon cleansing pool. Did you get it? That thing is useful for Great Elder. This. Xiao Hua hesitated. After all, as long as he takes out a drop, the Dragon Island will know that he has the dragon cleansing liquid. Who knows how much trouble there will be in the future? However, Xiao Hua thought for a bit and nodded. I got 3 drops. That's great. Ao Sheng's face showed extreme excitement. He shouted, Great Elder's injury can be cured. Xiao Hua looked at Ao Sheng strangely and asked, What are you so happy about? That thing belongs to me. What does it have to do with Great Elder? Doesn't your Dragon Island also have the dragon cleansing pool? Can't the dragon cleansing liquid inside be used? Ao Sheng's figure stopped and looked at Xiao Hua in a daze. After all, the years of experience in the stacked Jadeite legacy realm made him feel close to Xiao Hua. He almost regarded Xiao Hua as a member of the dragon race. And the most special thing was that Xiao Hua even became a dragon master on the Dragon Island. The happiest person in the entire Dragon Palace was him. He was sincerely happy for Xiao Hua. He had received many benefits from Xiao Hua, but he never thought that Xiao Hua would refuse to give the dragon cleansing liquid to Great Elder Ao Jia. Why can't I give it to Great Elder? He lost a part of his primordial spirit to save us. Ao Sheng asked pitifully. Primordial spirit might not be much to human cultivators like you, but to my dragon clan, it is very important. Ao Sheng. Xiao Hua said seriously. In the stacked Jade Legacy realm, Great Elder sacrificed his primordial spirit, but if you think about it carefully, he did it for you. It wasn't for this Xiao can still escape without his help. You can't say that. Ao Sheng closed his mouth, like a pitiful child of the dragon clan. His eyes were filled with tears, but he still argued. Although you don't need it, you still received his favor. Moreover, he treated you so well, and even gave you the title of Dragon Master. This is unprecedented on my Dragon Island. Don't you think he was using me? Xiao Hua sneered. Ao Sheng let out a long breath. He looked into the distance, then looked in the direction of the Dragon Palace. He said bitterly, Of course I can see that. However, Great Elder also has his own difficulties. The unspeakable pain is still his, not mine. Xiao Hua shook his head. You know how precious the dragon cleansing liquid is. Presumably, the dragon cleansing liquid in your Dragon Island's dragon cleansing pool has lost its effect after 1,000,000 years. I'm afraid these 3 drops of dragon cleansing liquid are the only ones left in this world, right? Woo. Ao Sheng suddenly wailed. His entire dragon body crawled in the air. His dragon claws were actually in a kneeling position. He said, Taoist Master Xiao, I beg you, you must save Great Elder. Second Elder has already seen some clues. If he suddenly makes trouble, My dragon island might fall into chaos. Looking at Ao Shang's pitiful appearance, Xiaohua immediately felt the little bit of filial piety in his heart. Compared to the craftiness of the dragons in the stacked jade legacy realm, this filial piety made Xiaohua's heart soften. Xiaohua flicked his sleeve and helped him up. Ao Shang's huge dragon body couldn't help but stand up when Xiaohua flicked his sleeve. I just can't see this pitiful appearance of yours. Did fourth elder teach you this? Xiaohua snorted coldly. Ao Shang lowered his head, shook his head and said, No, other than me, great elder doesn't dare to tell anyone. Master Xiao, I beg you, as long as you give me the dragon cleansing liquid, I'm willing to give you all the fun things in the palace. Why would I want so many of your toys? Xiaohua scolded, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Say it, I can give you whatever you want. Ao Shang heard that there was hope, so he hastily asked. Swear a dragon oath, as my dragon servant, you will be at my disposal for the rest of your life. Xiaohua replied coldly. Who would have thought that Ao Shang didn't hesitate at all and said, I, Ao Shang, swear by my dragon god's life. Shut up. Seeing the layers of strange dragon patterns appearing, Xiaohua hastily scolded, This old man is just joking with you. Really? Ao Shang shut up. That indescribable dragon pattern disappeared. Ao Shang opened his seemingly pure and flawless eyes and looked at Xiaohua. How am I going to give it to you? Xiaohua said fiercely, This old man owes your dragon island, but I just got 3 drops and now I have to give one away. How? Ao Shang went blank for a moment, then immediately woke up. He hastily took out the purple dragon crown and said, Put it in here. Xiaohua snappily took out a drop of dragon cleansing liquid from the space that looked like a pool and threw it inside. Just you wait. Ao Shang seemed to be in a hurry to present a treasure to the great elder. He turned around and was about to fly away. Xiaohua shouted, Why are you in such a hurry? It won't be too late to give it to the great elder after we come out from the smoke tree. Who knows when you will come out? Ao Shang shouted, I will go to the dragon palace first before talking to you. Don't be in such a hurry. Xiaohua thought of something. He hastily transmitted his voice and told Ao Shang about Jianghu's matter. You go and ask how to solve this matter. No problem. Ao Shang heard about this matter from Lu Yi. He agreed without hesitation. What a pitiful and cute child. Xiaohua looked at Ao Shang's cheerful back. The corner of his mouth revealed a smile. This kind of dragon who loves his clansmen is the hope of the Dragon Island. If he takes over the Dragon Island in the future, he will surely coexist peacefully with Ao Zhan. Chapter 40-50. Xiaohua thought that Ao Shang would be delayed for a long time, but he didn't expect that Ao Shang would appear in his line of sight in just the time it took to eat a meal. At this time, Ao Shang's face was obviously more intimate. Oh, so fast. Xiaohua smiled. Could it be that the noise in the Dragon Palace Hall has ended? Ah, how do you know? Ao Shang was surprised. Hee, how can I not know? Xiaohua smiled and didn't explain. Ao Shang nodded. When I went, only the Great Elder and the Fourth Elder were there. The other elders had already left. Seeing that the Fourth Elder's expression was not good, I didn't dare to say anything, and only transmitted the 3 words dragon cleansing liquid, and returned the purple dragon crown to the Great Elder. No way. What about the thing I asked you to ask? Xiaohua was flustered and exasperated. Hee, I haven't finished yet. Ao Shang smiled. The Great Elder took the purple dragon crown and asked me inexplicably, What does Xiaohua want? So I told him about Jianghu, and the Great Elder gave me a dragon bone. Saying that, Ao Shang gave a dragon bone to Xiaohua. Xiaohua looked at it and knew that it was the heavenly dragon speech technique, so he handed it to the dragon vein Xiaohua without thinking. The Great Elder must be secretly proud of himself right now. Xiaohua smiled. How could he exchange something for the dragon cleansing liquid? This is a big bargain for him. It doesn't matter, Master Xiao. Ao Shang said seriously, if you want anything, just tell me, I will definitely help you. No need. Xiaohua waved his hand. You better hurry up and take me to the smoke tree. Then, Ao Shang accompanied Xiaohua to talk while bringing Xiaohua to a dark place that stretched as far as the eye could see. This place was covered with ribbon-like seaweed. These seaweed were hundreds of feet tall, and each seaweed was like a big tree on land, divided into two branches in the middle. With so many seaweed gathered together, swaying with the sea water, it really looked like a lingering smoke wave. Xiaohua looked at these seaweed and smiled bitterly. This is the smoke tree, right? It really lives up to its name. These seaweeds are called smoke, like smoke from the mortal world. Ao Sheng explained, this smoke looks soft, but it is actually very tough. Ordinary Dao's and Confucianis's imperial artifacts Dao. Once one is caught by this smoke, it's hard to get away without special skills. Oh, there are even barbs on the smoke. Even the dragon clan doesn't dare to let the smoke stab us. If Ao Zanoff, of course, it smokes of the smoke. Master Xiao, please follow me. Xiaohua's to Xiaohua's. Of this of nature of the of hua of the of this flight tea of fire of the of tea of the Xiaohua was a little surprised. Just as he finished speaking, a whirlpool suddenly appeared 1,000 feet in front of him. The whirlpool shot straight down, bringing with it a few feet of seawater. Under the whirlpool, the seawater really looked like a sharp thorn. Woo! The sharp thorn whistled and fell into the smoke, splitting it apart. In just a few breaths' time, the smoke swirled and surrounded the split space. Hee, these are the thorns. Ao Sheng laughed. If you're unlucky enough to be pierced by the thorns, you'll inevitably fall into the smoke tree. That'll be troublesome. Aren't you afraid? Xiaohua looked left and right, but he couldn't see any danger. I'm a dragon, so I'm naturally sensitive to changes in the sea. Ao Sheng replied. I can sense the thorns as soon as they're born, so there's no need to worry. Of course, sometimes the thorns are formed too quickly, so I can't sense them. As he spoke, Ao Sheng's figure flashed, and sure enough, a bowl-sized thorn suddenly shot out from the top of his head. Master Xiao, be careful. Ao Sheng calmly stopped and reminded. Old man, about 3 feet in front of you. Just as Ao Sheng finished speaking, a whirlpool of several feet suddenly appeared and smashed toward Xiaohua's head. Ao Sheng was a little embarrassed, but he didn't say anything. After all, he knew how powerful Xiaohua was. Sure enough, Xiaohua looked up indifferently and rubbed his hands slightly. Several crystal lights fell into the sea, and a huge whirlpool appeared, rushing towards the newly born thorns. Boom! With a muffled sound, continuous waves rippled out in all directions. Oh, not good. Ao Sheng smiled bitterly. Master Xiao, you're a little reckless. Actually, Ao Sheng didn't need to say anything. Looking at the waves spreading into the distance, and the thorns of different sizes appearing one after another, Xiaohua knew that he had caused a big trouble. Fortunately, the training has ended. If the dragon blood descendants were still here, I'm afraid many of them would have fallen. Ao Sheng said helplessly, Now let's wait for a while. That's the only way. Xiaohua smiled bitterly. I didn't expect this smoke tree to be so strange. Master Xiao. Ao Sheng replied. No matter what, this smoke tree is still one of the 7 training grounds of my Dragon Island. If there isn't any danger, how can it serve as a training ground? If you have time, Master Xiao can go to Clear Snow, Baotu, Qiubo, Shizhao, Chunmeng, and Xiaoyu. The scenery there is much more beautiful than this smoke tree. Let's talk about it in the future. Xiaohua waved his hand. After waiting for the thorns to settle down, he once again followed Ao Sheng into the depths. After flying for a few hours, seeing that they were gradually approaching the mountains, Ao Sheng stopped and released his Yuan will. Master Xiao, this is the place. This is called Cheng Qiu Feng. Ao Zhantian's message talisman was sent from here. Are you sure you didn't go the wrong way? Xiaohua released his divine will and swept the surroundings like a gust of wind. Of course. Ao Sheng said proudly. I followed the 4th elder's instructions. Master Xiao. Can your divine will not be so strong? Following Ao Sheng's exclamation, more thorns appeared around the smoke tree. These thorns were much bigger than before, and their range was also much wider. They were like thunderbolts that struck towards Xiaohua and Ao Sheng. Xiaohua didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He rubbed his hands together, and several crystal lights flew into the air. A water shield that was 1,000 feet long appeared above his and Ao Sheng's heads. Rumble! The thorns landed on the water shield one after another, causing the water shield to shine brightly. Damn it, why can't I use my divine will in this smoke tree? Xiaohua spat and cursed. And this seaweed can actually block my divine will. Ao Sheng shrugged. Master Xiao, it's not that I can't use it, but I can't use it so crudely like Master Xiao. Can't you be a little gentler and not let your divine will come into contact with the seaweed? Forget it. Xiaohua waved his hand and pointed at a place. Let's go over there, there seems to be some energy fluctuations there. Xiaohua activated his water escape technique and flew towards a distant mountain. Along the way, the smoke rushed towards Xiaohua. On the other hand, although Ao Shang's dragon body was huge, it merged with the seawater as it swam. The smoke swayed around the dragon body but didn't get close. Of course, Xiaohua didn't care about this kind of smoke. As his body swayed, the true qi around him overflowed and blocked the seaweed to the side. However, the seaweed was really strange. Although the true qi could block the seaweed also swallowed a lot of true qi. Why is there a deep hole here? Even Ao Shang was a little surprised to see a cave that was less than 3 feet deep in the depths of the seaweed when he arrived at a hidden place in the valley. After all, the seaweed known as chimney smoke was capable of blocking origin sense and divine sense. Furthermore, it was impossible for an ordinary dragon bloodline descendant to reach the depths of such dense seaweed. It was truly not easy to find such a hidden cave. Hee, how could a pampered little elder like you know the difficulties of our Taoism cultivators? Xiaohua said proudly, not to mention this place, even if it's 100 times more difficult, we Taoism cultivators can still find it in order to find cultivation techniques and spiritual treasures. Ao Sheng curled his lips and didn't refute. Xiaohua stood on the mountain peak above the deep hole and released a strand of divine will to slowly explore inside. After an entire meal, a strange expression appeared on his face and he said, Ao Zhantian is inside. He's really inside. Ao Shang was really impressed. Master Xiao, hurry up and save him. I have to ask him how he found this cave. Aren't you going down? Xiaohua asked with interest. Teacher Xiao, take a look at this cave. Is it a place that I can enter? Ao Shang curled his lips. I'm curious, why did the dragon descendant dig a cave here? Could it be that there's something strange about this? I'll go take a look. Xiaohua instructed. If you don't go down, then wait here. All right. Ao Shang swayed his dragon body and lay down lazily on the mountain peak. The murderous seaweed swayed around his dragon body, looking very warm and cozy. Xiaohua activated his escape technique and landed among the seaweed. When his feet touched the bottom of the sea, he raised his head to take a look. The seaweed was lush and green, and it was no different from the forests seen on the continent. Moreover, there were no paths around the seaweed, and it grew irregularly. It was extremely easy for humans to get lost in it. It was indeed an excellent place to gain experience. Xiaohua naturally didn't dare to go too far. He activated his body and flew toward the black hole in the depths of the seaweed. That black hole was among the seaweed, and there was no place to hide. Xiaohua pondered for a moment and decided not to hide. He just wanted to go into the black hole. Just as Xiaohua approached the seaweed, dozens of seaweed pounced on him like the tentacles of a sea beast, instantly binding him. Xiaohua looked at the seaweed around him. As if it had a life of its own, it firmly wrapped around his arms, legs, and other parts of his body. Then, the corner of his mouth slightly smiled. He raised his arms upwards, and the seaweed immediately let out a zhi-zhi sound. Under Xiaohua's enormous strength, it actually didn't break. Shua! Immediately after, a bunch of roots several times larger than the seaweed was pulled out from the ground by Xiaohua, raising a cloud of mud and sand. The mud and sand dyed the surrounding seawater turbid. Chapter 40-51. This seaweed is indeed powerful. Xiaohua reached out and pulled the severed seaweed off his body. Then, he looked at his skin, which was slightly scratched by the seaweed's bobs, and thought to himself, even I am in such a state. If ordinary demons and humans come here, it is inevitable that they will be injured. After witnessing the power of the seaweed, Xiaohua simply pulled out all the seaweed around the hole and came to the entrance of the hole. There was no light in the hole, nor was there any seaweed. Xiaohua jumped into the hole and dove down easily. This black hole was not straight. Instead, there were many twists and turns. There were even some forks that Xiaohua was most afraid of. It seemed like this black hole was not used to search for treasures. As for the real reason, no one could say for sure. Xiaohua continued to dive down. After diving for more than 10 miles, he finally reached the end of a tunnel. This tunnel was not big, only a few feet long. Looking at the freshness of the soil, it should be newly formed. At the end of this layer of soil, a cluster of brilliant spring flowers bloomed. Ao Zhantian's body had already disappeared into the spring flowers. Only his head with closed eyes could be seen. Xiaohua had already seen it clearly with his divine sense. Although Ao Zhantian's head was also entering the spring flowers, it was moving very slowly. For the time being, he would not be in any danger. Thus, Xiaohua was not in a hurry to use any methods to save him. Xiaohua once again released a strand of divine sense onto the spring flowers. Just like before, the spring flowers immediately swallowed that strand of divine sense. Xiaohua stretched out a finger and lightly touched the spring flowers. A powerful suction force was born from the spring flowers, forcefully pulling Xiaohua's finger into it. Damn it! Xiaohua used all his strength to pull out his finger. Looking at Ao Zhantian's tightly shut eyes, he said, Ao Zhantian, I really don't know what to say about you. This is clearly a Dao Sect's forbidden array, and it is the kind of ancient forbidden array. How could you be so bold as to touch this forbidden array? Or rather your luck is too bad. This black hole's tunnel should not lead to this forbidden array, but after you came in, you dug the tunnel to where the forbidden array is. You have to know that this forbidden array devours divine sense. It is not easy for others to discover it. Xiaohua's complaints were one thing, but he still had to save him. He looked at the small patch of spring flowers that was revealed, but he couldn't see the whole picture of the formation. He simply patted his forehead and opened his delusion breaker Dharma eye. Hiss! When Xiaohua could clearly see the great array in front of him, he sucked in a deep breath. This was a great array with a radius of 100 miles. This great array was like a field of spring flowers connected together. Every spring flower bloomed with a pure blue brilliance, and the entire great array was like a beautiful flower garden located at the bottom of the pitch-black sea. What kind of forbidden array is this? Xiaohua closed his eyes and pondered for a moment, but he didn't find any clues. In his heart, he was even more certain of his previous guess. To be able to set up a Dao sect formation at the training grounds of the Dragon Island, I'm afraid it's a divine ability that only ancient Dao sect cultivators have, right? However, what is the purpose of setting up this formation? Who cares? Let's save Ao Zhantian first. Xiaohua pinched his chin with his hand and thought, this forbidden formation is set up on the Dragon Island. It borrows the water-type heaven and earth's origin energy. And the big formation is in the shape of a flower. It also condenses the wood-type heaven and earth's origin energy. If we want to break it, we must cut off the water-type heaven and earth's origin energy supply. Although this isn't too troublesome, it might damage the things inside the formation. Forget it, I'll just use the innate primordial water. Thinking about this, Xiaohua took out a water bottle and activated his mental force. A strand of innate primordial water fell into the forbidden formation. As expected, when the innate primordial water fell, it didn't cause any reaction from the forbidden formation. As the innate primordial water separated Ao Zhantian's body from the formation, Xiaohua released his mental force along the edge of the innate primordial water and easily rescued Ao Zhantian. Before Xiaohua could send Ao Zhantian into the void, the Confucian cultivator Xiaohua suddenly shouted with ecstasy, "Fellow Immortal! There's Xianxia's aura in this great array." What? Xiaohua was stunned. He cried out in shock. How is that possible? How can there be Xianxia on the Dragon Island? How come I didn't sense it? However, after Xiaohua finished speaking, he laughed to himself first. Who said that the Confucian cultivators Xianxia couldn't appear on the Dragon Island? Looking at this Dao sect formation, how could Xiaohua not know that the ancient Dao sect cultivators had taken the Confucian cultivators Xianxia here to suppress him? Even the immortal emperor of the Immortal Palace wouldn't have thought that the Xianxia he had been searching for who knows how many years would be in the Dragon Island, right? Of course, even if the immortal emperor knew, he wouldn't have come here to take it, right? The Xianxia's aura is extremely weak. I only sensed a strand of it just now, but it's gone now. the Confucian cultivator Xianxia said solemnly. However, I can be sure that Heaven's heart is here. Of course the Tian is here. Xianxia nodded. Right now, we're just missing a piece of the Tian. It's better to hide the Tian on Dragon Island than anywhere else. The water here is abundant and can conceal the aura of the Tian. Using water to subdue water. We just need to get the Tian. We don't have to break this great array. Xianxia said with a smile. This is a piece of cake for fellow Immortal. Xianxia looked at the place where the innate primordial water was after Xianxia came out and nodded. It should be easy to go in, but we don't know what's inside the great array. Let's go in first. Xianxia smiled. Now that we're here, even if it's a mountain of blades or a sea of flames, we have to go in and take a look. All right. Xianxia withdrew Xianxia and flew into the air. He landed in the middle of the Xiantian true water and used his psyche power to protect himself, just like how he dodged his enemies in the past. Then, he slowly followed the flow of the Xiantian true water toward the depths of the forbidden formation. After a full hour, Xianxia's feet sank and a strong corrosive force was produced, quickly invading his skin. Xianxia frowned and a light flashed on the surface of his body as he tried his best to resist the corrosion. When Xianxia pulled out his mental force to take a look, he was pleasantly surprised. Innate heavy water? Fuck, the seniors of the Taoist faction are really meticulous. Xianxia prostrated himself in admiration. With the array outside and the innate heavy water inside, not only could the Tian aura not leak out, it would also be very difficult for someone to take the Tian away. However, this was extremely easy for Xianxia. Xianxia took out the clear water bottle and activated his mental force. The innate heavy water was immediately sucked into the clear water bottle. This great array was dozens of kilometers wide and was filled with innate heavy water. Xianxia spent a lot of time just to collect it. When he finished collecting the innate heavy water, the turtle shell in the center of the great array flashed with a deep blue brilliance. Xianxia's figure flashed and arrived in front of the turtle shell. He released his mental force and rolled up the turtle shell, preparing to put it into the space. However, just as Xianxia's mental force touched the turtle shell, rumble. Within the space of dozens of kilometers, tens of thousands of thunderbolts were produced from the great array that was as bright as a spring flower. They tore through the void and pounced on Xianxia. Come on. Xianxia rubbed his hands and a green light appeared between his eyebrows. Confucian cultivator Xianxia also helped. In an instant, tens of thousands of thunderbolts were produced from Xianxia's body. 5 Qi righteous thunder, 3 corpses in thunder, and 9 heavens divine thunder met the great array's water-type heavenly thunder wave after wave. Rumble. The strong sound of thunder tribulation and the destructive aura of landslide filled the entire great array in the blink of an eye. After a full meal's time, the thunderbolts gradually stopped and Xianxia's battered figure was revealed from the thunderbolts. Although he tried his best to defend himself and urged the thunderbolts to counterattack, the all-pervasive water-type lightning still poured down on his body. Although Xianxia's body was incomparably tough, he still suffered heavy injuries under the thunderbolts. Fortunately, the injuries were within the range that Xianxia could endure. Seeing that the thunderbolts had subsided, Xianxia released his mental force again and easily sent the turtle shell into the space. Let's go! Xianxia, who had obtained the will of the heavens, did not dare to delay. His figure flashed and flew towards the place where he came from. Above the forbidden array, the innate true water was still flowing slowly. The way out was very smooth and they did not encounter any more dangers. When Xianxia arrived at the peak of the smoke tree, he actually heard Xianxia snoring again. That sometimes big and sometimes small bubble floated next to his nose along with the snoring sound. Oh, why are you only back now? Xianxia was awakened by Xianxia's movements. He quickly got up and looked around him. Where's Xianxia? Did you save him? And I've already saved him. Xianxia took Xianxia out of the space and raised his hand to touch Xianxia's forehead. However, just as he was about to wake Xianxia up, Xianxia frowned and retracted his finger. He took out the Kunlun mirror and sucked Xianxia into it. Xianxia was a little confused and asked curiously, "What's wrong? Why didn't you wake him up?" "Let's talk about it after we leave the Dragon Island." Xiao Hua replied with a smile. Ao Sheng glanced at Xiao Hua and knew what he was worried about. He did not ask and only reminded him, when entering the Dragon Island, regardless of whether it is the dragon shell or the universe bracelet, you cannot bring a living person. You have to be careful. I know. Xiao Hua nodded. When we reach the Dragon Island, I will wake Ao Zhantian up. Master Xiao, are you leaving now? Hearing Xiao Hua mention the Dragon Island, Ao Sheng suddenly felt reluctant to part. He said with melancholy, "Are you not going to the Dragon Palace to say goodbye? Or are you going to stay in my palace for a few days?" I don't dare, Xiao Hua said with a smile. I'm not afraid of thieves stealing, but I'm afraid of thieves thinking about me. I think it's better for me to leave this place as soon as possible. Is there a need for that? Ao Shang's parting mood was slightly alleviated by Xiao Hua's words. The Dragon Island was naturally prepared long ago. It was similar to the Dragon Island when they arrived, but it was much smaller. Xiao Hua woke Ao Zhantian up. Ao Zhantian looked at the familiar groove and the Dragon Island and immediately understood. He wanted to ask something, but was stopped by Xiao Hua's gaze. When they got on the Dragon Island, Ao Sheng was unwilling to let go. He pulled on Xiao Hua's sleeve and was unwilling to let go. He had lived for so many years, but he had never met a human who was so considerate to tell him stories and accompany him through life and death. In the end, Xiao Hua had no choice but to send Ao Sheng to the Dragon Palace. He promised that as long as the Dragon Palace agreed, he would bring Ao Sheng out of the Dragon Island to train. Chapter 4052. Not long after, Ao Sheng returned happily, much to Xiao Hua's surprise. Although the Dragon Hall didn't want Ao Sheng to follow Xiao Hua out for training, they still agreed to let Ao Sheng send Xiao Hua back to the hidden Immortal continent. Xiao Hua had no choice but to let Ao Sheng enter the travel dragon. Two people and a dragon were naturally a little bored. After Ao Sheng sent the few dragons who were riding the dragon to another place, Xiao Hua released Lu Yi and the other disciples to play with Ao Sheng. Seeing how Xiao Hua was able to bring disciples without telling the Dragon Island, Ao Zhantian naturally understood how Ao Moyun escaped death. However, he didn't ask too much and only briefly explained his experience in the smoke tree. Ao Zhantian's experience was naturally lackluster, far less exciting than Xiao Hua's experience. Even finding the deep cave was a coincidence. Apart from some treasures that Ao Zhantian was unwilling to reveal, he basically didn't obtain anything. Xiao Hua pondered for a moment and took out a magic treasure refined by the green-robed Xiao Hua from his space and gave it to Ao Zhantian, using the excuse that he obtained it in the stacked Jade Legacy realm as a gift. Ao Zhantian was overjoyed and thought of Xiao Hua's guidance in the travel dragon. After thanking Xiao Hua for accepting the magic treasure, he asked Xiao Hua to explain. Xiao Hua didn't stand on ceremony and sat down cross-legged, imparting his cultivation experience bit by bit. Time passed quickly, and several months passed in the blink of an eye. Sensing that the travel dragon had stopped, Xiao Hua opened his eyes and said with a smile, "That's all for today. Fellow Taoist Ao, if there's a chance in the future, let's spar again." There was a look of gratitude on Ao Zhantian's face, and he hurriedly rose to his feet before extending a respectful salute. Previously, I thought that going to the Dragon Island was the greatest opportunity of my life, but now I know that meeting Master Xiao was my true opportunity. Master Xiao, please accept a bow from this junior. Hee, you're too polite. Xiao Hua smiled as he accepted Ao Zhantian's bow. Although Xiao Hua had spoken on behalf of Ao Zhantian in order to resolve the karma caused by the heavenly heart of water qi, these few months of teaching disciples were real. Even Xiao Hua's own disciples had not received such treatment. Thus, although Xiao Hua's words were polite, he did not stop Ao Zhantian. After paying his respects, Ao Zhantian said sincerely, "Master Xiao, now that the dragons have stopped, they must have reached the hidden Immortal continent. If you don't have anywhere else to go, why don't you stay in my cave abode for a while?" "No need." Xiao Hua looked at Ao Sheng bringing Lu Yi and the others over and said with a smile, "This Xiao is also going into seclusion. I've accumulated enough over the past few days. If I don't go into seclusion, I'm afraid there will be some trouble. Junior will wait for the day teacher Xiao comes out of seclusion. That day will definitely be the day that the 3 continents will focus their attention on." Ao Zhantian replied respectfully. Although he didn't know that Xiaohua was already the dragon master of the dragon tribe, he knew that even the Immortal Palace wouldn't dare to touch Xiaohua when he saw that even the minor elders of the Dragon Island had come to send him off. Xiaohua's cultivation had already grown a pair of wings. Xiaohua kept Lu Yi and the others and followed Ao Shang out of the dragon travel. They were now in a calm sea. Xiaohua released his divine sense and saw the land 1,000 miles away. Although this land looked unfamiliar, as long as it was the hidden immortal continent, there would definitely be a path that led to the soaring Dragon Mountain range. Ao Shang. Xiaohua turned his head and said with a smile, "Even if you send me off 1,000 miles, there will still be a farewell. This time, you've sent me off for more than 1,000,000 miles, right?" Teacher Xiao. Ao Shang's heart was filled with reluctance. He asked sadly, "When will you come to the Dragon Island again?" Xiaohua smiled and patted Ao Shang's paw. He said, "This old man should be asking you this. When will you leave the Dragon Island and go to the 3 rivers and 4 seas and even the 3 continents to gain experience?" "All right." Ao Shang nodded. His eyes were filled with determination as he replied, "I know. After returning to the Dragon Island, I will definitely cultivate diligently with the Great Elder and strive to leave the Dragon Island as soon as possible." Xiaohua had the bearing of Teacher Xiao. He warned, "Your dragon tribe is the pride of the heavens and is naturally tyrannical. This is also why your dragon tribe is arrogant and lazy. Perhaps the lack of descendants is the reason why your dragon tribe is unable to dominate the 3 continents. However, your lack of ambition is the key to your dragon tribe's decline. Instead of searching for the illusory Dragon Realm secret technique, why don't the Dragon Island innovate and think of your own path from a realistic point of view?" "Yes, I understand. I will definitely tell the Great Elder." Ao Shang replied respectfully. "There's no need to be too formal." Xiaohua smiled and waved his hand. "The Great Elder might not have not thought of my words. The changes in the stacked Jade Legacy realm this time might be his doing." "This? I don't know." Ao Shang replied with a puzzled expression. Xiaohua smiled and waved his hand. He pulled Ao Zhantian with his left hand and said, "Ao Shang, this old man will be leaving now. We will meet again if fate allows." After he finished speaking, lightning flashed around Xiaohua's body and he disappeared in an instant. Hiss. Ao Shang looked at Xiaohua's mysterious lightning escape technique and couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. In the stacked Jade Legacy realm, Xiaohua had always been carried by Ao Shang. He didn't expect that Xiaohua's escape technique had already exceeded his imagination. Ao Shang's eyes were filled with a sense of fanaticism. Roar! He roared towards the sky. The wind and rain within 100 miles started to blow. A voice rang out in the wind and rain, "Master Xiao, I will catch up to you." Hee hee. Xiaohua, who had already flown far away, could faintly hear Ao Shang's fighting spirit being stimulated. He smiled in his heart. The dragon tribe had been peaceful for a long time. If there wasn't some stimulation, how could there be a new life? After flying to land, Xiaohua let go of Ao Zhantian and cupped his hands. "Taoist Ao, you and I will also bid farewell here." "All right." Ao Zhantian had long regarded Xiaohua as his senior. He bowed and said, "This junior will take his leave." After Ao Zhantian stepped onto the flying ship and flew far away, Xiaohua looked around and released Little White from the space. Huff huff. The little white dragon swam in the air for a while before transforming back into Xiaohua, who was wearing a crimson Taoist robe. He smiled and said, "The feeling of reforming my body is indeed not bad. This taste of freedom. I haven't experienced it in a long time. And freedom is now in your hands. Go and travel by yourself." Xiaohua encouraged. "You have cultivated for a longer time than I have, and you have experienced a lot. There are many things that I don't need to say. However, you have to be careful of the Dragon Island." That day in the Dragon Palace, the Dragon Palace Grand Elder clearly knew that you and Taoist Long Mai were reforming together. However, he only mentioned Taoist Long Mai and didn't ask you to come out. I don't know what he is planning. Now that the enmity between the 10 tribes of the Dragon Island is showing signs of easing, we shouldn't get involved. "I understand, Xiaohua." The little white dragon smiled and said, "I am only going out to train for a few years to solidify my incomplete dragon body. I definitely won't provoke the Dragon Island. In fact, if there are any troublesome places, I will hide and immediately return after my body solidifies. It's good that you understand. Xiaohua smiled. You should go too. Let's see what these 3 continents are like. Perhaps there will be even better opportunities. All right. The little white dragon cupped his hands and roared before heading towards the sea. Hee hee, the little white dragon is also suffocating. Xiaohua watched the little white dragon fly away and secretly felt happy for him. Several hundred years ago, he should have succeeded in transforming into a dragon. However, his body was destroyed by the Xuanyan cult. Afterwards, he fled in panic and his soul was saved by me. During these several hundred years, he stayed in my mysterious dark clouds to cultivate. Now that he has completed his body solidification, how can he not go out and relax? Yes. Long Mai Xiaohua's voice came from within his body. The dragon transformation art is not a simple technique. For Little White to be able to cultivate the dragon transformation art with his python body. Who knows how many years he spent and who knows how many dangers he encountered. Without a heart as firm as a rock, it is extremely difficult to achieve. He should go out for a walk. Otherwise, it will be detrimental to his future cultivation. Then what about Taoist? Xiaohua patted his own forehead. Long Mai Xiaohua also flew out and changed into Xiaohua's appearance and asked. I am naturally different from him. Long Mai Xiaohua smiled and said, my main body is Long Mai. I am used to being calm. Cultivating the dragon transformation art is even more natural. Moreover, do you think I can leave Taoist right now? Haha, seems like Taoist also wants to go out for a walk. Xiaohua laughed loudly. Long Mai Xiaohua did not hide his thoughts and replied, that is natural. Not just I, Taoist green robe, Taoist Confucian Taoist etc. Which one of us does not want to go out and take a look? It is just that we are still unable to completely leave Taoist right now. Perhaps soon. Xiaohua solemnly promised, we have already begun to comprehend the Dragon Clan's fake body technique. When we have succeeded in cultivating the fake body technique, we will take a look at that 7-colored conch and my Xianghua Ming's god statue. Perhaps we will discover something. At that time, I will send everyone out for training. Many thanks. Long Mai Xiaohua cupped his hands and bowed, while Confucian Xiaohua and the others also thanked him. However, Long Mai Xiaohua reminded again, fellow Taoist, if other fellow Taoists leave, it won't affect your cultivation in any way. However, if this Taoist leaves, it will be detrimental to your cultivation of the Tao sex cultivation method. You have to be prepared. I have already thought about this. Xiaohua nodded. I's nascent soul is not like ordinary Taoist cultivators. All the meridians in it are opened, the same as the meridians in the physical body. I only need to cultivate to the body fusion stage, and the physical body and nascent soul will become one. Then, the physical body will not need its own meridians and can cultivate with the nascent soul's meridians alone. But the problem is, can Taoist persist until then? And can I's physical body fuse with the nascent soul? Looks like we can only take one step at a time. Long Mai Xiaohua naturally knew Xiaohua's difficulties. Xiaohua replied, actually in the worst case, I can only give up my physical body and cultivate the Crimson Soul technique according to Do Shanjun's cultivation technique. It is still early, Taoist doesn't have to make a decision so early. Long Mai Xiaohua said with a smile, Taoist, go into seclusion first. Indeed. Xiaohua nodded. Looking at Long Mai Xiaohua said, but before returning to the soaring Dragon Mountain range, shouldn't Taoist wake up Jianghu first? Chapter 4053. Ha 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 ha, of course. Xiaohua laughed and replied, the forbidden technique of the North Sea Dragon Palace is similar to the Heavenly Dragon technique. It is very obscure for the Heavenly Dragon clan, but for I, it is very simple. The secret technique that the Great Elder gave me in return is also very accurate. I have already comprehended it during this time. Fellow Taoist, please wait a moment. Xiaohua waved his hand and took out Jianghu's dragon body. Dragon Vein Xiaohua transformed into his dragon form and chanted in the dragon language. The heaven and earth origin energy within 1,000 li swarmed over and followed Dragon Vein Xiaohua's dragon claw down. Droplets of heaven and earth origin energy fell onto Jianghong's dragon body like raindrops. When the sweet rain entered her body, it was as if she was molting. A layer of strange fluctuation undulated on the surface of Jianghong's dragon body. Following that, 3 colored brilliance blossomed from the inside of her dragon body. Jianghong's dragon body suddenly trembled. Roar! Jianghong opened her eyes and roared. She pounced towards dragon vein Xiaohua. Roar! Xiaohua naturally regarded Jianghong as a junior. He also roared and released his dragon aura to suppress Jianghong. However, looking at Xiaohua's appearance, he was only joking with Jianghong. Buzz! A hurricane rose. That substantial dragon aura suddenly flipped Jianghong in the air. Jianghong's huge dragon body rolled helplessly. Roar! Jianghong saw that she was no match for Xiaohua. She howled and clouds appeared around her body. She wanted to escape towards the sea. Where are you going? Xiaohua laughed and shouted loudly. He blocked Jianghong's path. Roar! Jianghong was anxious and wanted to pounce towards Xiaohua. However, when she saw Xiaohua's appearance, she unconsciously froze on the spot. You! Jianghong seemed to have forgotten Xiaohua's name, but she had a deep impression of Xiaohua's appearance. Hee. Xiaohua smiled and said, Xiao Yun, I am Xiaohua, Lu Yi's master. I have already saved you from the North Sea Dragon Palace. Lu Yi. What an ancient name, what an unforgettable name. These 2 words were like a clap of thunder in Jianghong's ears. Jianghong's figure fell into the air, unable to move for a long time. After a long while, Jianghong's body trembled slightly, and she turned into her human form. She asked anxiously and expectantly, My brother, where is he? So far away yet so close. Xiaohua was very satisfied with Jianghong's reaction and said with a smile. Jianghong was shocked and hurriedly turned to look at Dragon Vein Xiaohua. Ha! Dragon Vein Xiaohua laughed loudly. This old man is not Brother Lu. Xiaohua took out the Kunlun mirror and said, Lu Yi is inside the magic treasure. You just came out from inside. Ah? Jianghong's face paled as she cried out, Master, my brother, he saw it. Yes. Xiaohua nodded. This. Jianghong's face was pale as if she had lost her parents. Even her voice was trembling. Xiaohua smiled and said, However, Lu Yi said that your body is very beautiful. Even more beautiful than when you transformed into Xiao Yun? Really? Jianghong's pale face flushed red. She couldn't believe her ears. Of course. Xiaohua raised the Kunlun mirror and said, If you don't believe me, this old man will let Lu Yi tell you personally. Don't. Jianghong's face flushed red as she hurriedly stopped him. Master, wait a moment. What? Xiaohua was somewhat puzzled. However, when he saw Jianghong raise her hand and a bright mirror appeared, he smiled again. A woman dressed up for her lover. Wasn't that right? Jianghong carefully dressed up and even took out a golden hairpin from her bosom and inserted it into her black hair. At this time, she looked at Xiaohua with some apprehension and whispered, Master, can you let Lu Yi come out? Of course. Xiaohua shook the Kunlun mirror. Lu Yi was sent out from the space where the Kunlun mirror's light pillar landed. As early as when Xiaohua took out Jianghong's dragon body, Lu Yi's heart began to beat wildly. At this time, his figure appeared outside and he saw Jianghong at a glance. At this time, Jianghong had already matured a lot. She was no longer as young and inexperienced as she was before. However, the familiar corners of her eyes and brows, as well as her affectionate gaze, immediately made Lu Yi drunk. Little Yun. Lu Yi pulled Jianghong and called out, You're awake? However, feeling the trembling of Jianghong's hand, Lu Yi knew that he was being rude and hurriedly let go. However, he only loosened a little. Jianghong's hand grabbed his hand and her face bloomed with a smile. Yes, brother, it was Master who saved me. Brother? Hearing this name that he often heard before, Lu Yi's heart actually gave birth to a trace of loss. However, he still forced a smile on his face and nodded. Yes, Master is very resourceful. Of course he can save you. Hee. Seeing the change in Lu Yi's expression, how could Jianghong not know what he was thinking? She smiled faintly and said, Yes, brother has done so many good things. Of course he will be repaid. Brother has met such a good master. Even I am envious. Lu Yi's eyes lit up. He hurriedly grabbed Jiang Hong's hand and looked at Xiaohua. Master, don't we still lack a junior sister? You won't accept Xiao Yun as your disciple, right? Xiaohua looked at the impatient Lu Yi and said with a smile, What? Don't you think that the heavenly abode river is in trouble? When did I say that? Lu Yi's face turned red as he hurriedly argued. AI. Hearing Xiaohua mention the heavenly abode river, Jiang Hong's face showed melancholy. She gradually loosened her grip on Lu Yi's hand. Master. Lu Yi was anxious. He increased the strength of his hand and said, If you don't accept, disciple will let Martial Uncle Green Robe accept. Ah! Xiaohua was stunned. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Needless to say, Xiaohua was very satisfied with being a master in the space. He even went to guide Lu Yi and the others in their cultivation. There's no need to let fellow Taoist Green Robe accept Jiang Hong as his disciple. Dragon Vein Xiaohua said with a smile, He can't teach Jiang Hong anything. This old man will accept her as his disciple. Master? Lu Yi didn't understand the situation and looked at Xiaohua for help. Xiaohua waved his hand and said, If fellow Taoist wants to accept her, then accept her. You are also a 5-clawed true dragon of the dragon race. If Jiang Hong follows you, the heavenly abode river will also benefit. 5-clawed true dragon? Jiang Hong's face showed ecstasy. Dragon Vein Xiaohua was just teasing her and didn't reveal his true body. Although Jiang Hong didn't see it with her own eyes, how could she doubt Xiaohua's words? Jiang Hong immediately knelt on the ground and said, Disciple Jiang Hong greets master. After Jiang Hong kowtowed 9 times, Dragon Vein Xiaohua helped her up and said, Good, this old man will accept you as his disciple today. Cultivate well and don't let Lu Yi bully you in the future. Master. Jiang Hong lowered her head shyly, while Lu Yi stood at the side and smiled foolishly. Time always urged people to grow old. The 2 children who depended on each other in the past were now youths. The man was full of love and the girl was full of love. They were the best couple in the world. Okay, let's return to the Kunlun Wonderland and greet the few senior brothers. Xiaohua smiled and waved the Kunlun mirror to send them into the space. Then he said to Dragon Vein Xiaohua, Fellow Taoist, why can't you enter the space? I'm not too sure. Dragon Vein Xiaohua was also puzzled. Maybe it's because I used too much dragon cleansing liquid to shape my body, and it's different from the heaven-earth yuan qi in the space? But how can little white dragon enter? And that dragon cleansing liquid? Isn't there a large pool in our space? Xiaohua shook his head slightly. Dragon Vein Xiaohua said with a smile, There's no need to delve into such details. If there's time, I should study the dragon jade more. That's the inheritance of the dragon realm's heavenly dragon technique. That's right. Xiaohua also echoed, Fellow Taoist, you've worked hard. After I return to the soaring Dragon Mountain range, I'll have to cultivate in seclusion. I'm going back. Dragon Vein Xiaohua said as he entered Xiaohua's body. Fellow Taoist, quickly return. Then, Xiaohua took out the heavenly horse flying carriage and called out Fu Jiwen. He had him drive the flying carriage back to the soaring Dragon Mountain range. Then, he sat inside the flying carriage and entered the space. Within the space, green-robed Xiaohua had already tidied up the things he obtained from the Soul Cultivator ruins in the spring-cleansing Forbidden Sea. Now, there were a lot of huge dragon corpses and dragon crystal boulders piled up in the open space. The corpses of dragon worship and strange insects were also placed there. In this stacked jade ruins, the dragon race had lost a lot of huge dragons. The dragon corpses that Xiaohua handed over were only 40% of the total. However, this 40% was enough to make the elders of the Dragon Hall dumbfounded. Jade Archive Xiaohua ordered green-robed Xiaohua to tidy up these huge dragon corpses and dragon crystal boulders. Then, he waved his hand and dragon worship floated in the air. Dragon worship had lost its fetal belt and its foundation to intimidate the dragon race. However, it was not killed. At this time, dragon worship twisted its body like a huge silkworm cocoon. The upper body of this silkworm cocoon was somewhat similar to the dragon race, but it had no dragon horns or dragon claws. Dragon worship twisted in the air and looked at Jade Archive Xiaohua with difficulty. its eyes full of fear. Jade Archive Xiaohua looked at dragon worship, which had swallowed a lot of dragon brain matter, and sighed slightly in his heart. He raised his hand and waved again, sending it to a secluded place, leaving it to fend for itself. Then, Jade Archive Xiaohua's complicated gaze fell on the strange insect's body. Although this strange insect was blown up by Ao Shang's sacred dragon seal, the remaining corpse was more complete than the last time. In particular, this strange insect was 10 times bigger than the one Xiaohua encountered last time, and its strength was also much stronger. Thinking about how the dragon race's powerful body was easily torn apart by this strange insect hind legs, even someone as strong as Jade Archive Xiaohua shuddered. Almost without thinking, Jade Archive Xiaohua picked up the strange insect's sharpest tail, formed a seal with both hands, and began to refine the execution spirit Yuan light again. After the execution spirit Yuan light was refined, Jade Archive Xiaohua sent the sword gourd into the thunder water of the immortal beheading platform to be tempered and warmed. Then he looked at Xiao Gua. At this time, Xiao Gua was in a very mysterious state. She sat cross-legged in front of the Jindan that looked like the sun. Her eyes seemed to be open, and her body was trembling slightly. A layer of faint fluctuation on the surface of her body was changing along with the strange phenomenon inside the Jindan. Xiao Hua, who saw the obscure fluctuation, was really surprised because this fluctuation was similar to the incantation used to refine the Jindan. It was similar to the fluctuation inside the Jindan. Chapter 4054. Hee. No matter if this golden core is a dragon core or an ancient golden core, being able to let Xiao Gua comprehend is better than anything else. Jade Archive Xiaohua did not dare to disturb Xiao Gua's comprehension. He faintly smiled and was about to leave. GG. A few thunderous low humming sounds came from the immortal execution stage. A black shadow streaked across the sky and landed in front of Jade Archive Xiaohua. Wasn't that the already awakened little Lei? Lightning flashed around little Lei's body, as its 2 fleshy wings faintly flapped. Hundreds of tiny lightning bolts flickered in its pitch-black eyes. When the lightning disappeared, a look of closeness and longing appeared in its eyes. Jade Archive Xiaohua stretched out his hand and gently rubbed little Lei's head. He smiled and said, "You're awake." Gigi. Little Lei's eyes were filled with joy. He chirped and raised his wings with joy. Traces of lightning appeared on the edges of his wings. "It's good that you're awake," Jade Archive Xiaohua said again. "This old man has a cultivation method for lightning beasts. Are you willing to cultivate it?" Gigi. Lightning Beast jumped up. His wings were tightly wrapped around his back. His small body was slightly bowed, showing respect and caution. Jade Archive Xiaohua slightly smiled. He stretched out his finger and pointed at little Lei's forehead. Rumble. Thunderous sounds came from Xiao Lei's body. Lightning also burst out from his body. Jade Archive Xiaohua raised his hand to stop the lightning from expanding. Then, he carefully looked at Xiao Lei. Xiaohua saw that Little Thunder's eyes were tightly closed, and the lightning flashed along with Little Thunder's eyebrows. Xiaohua knew that Little Thunder was memorizing and comprehending the inheritance of the Thunder Beast, so he was relieved. He sent Little Thunder into the thunder water below the Immortal Executioner stage, and then his figure flashed and landed on the Iceworm King's egg, Water Pattern Butterfly, and Dream Mirage Butterfly's egg. Although these insect eggs had not hatched yet, Xiaohua had already sensed a strong vitality within them. He believed that it would not be long before these little things were born. Xiaohua was really looking forward to seeing what was special about these insect eggs that had been separated by yin and yang. Woo! A black light flashed. The Divine Power Centipede also flew over and swam around Jade Archive Xiaohua. Hee. You're also not willing to be left out? As Jade Archive Xiaohua spoke, he raised his hand and tapped the back of the Divine Power Centipede. Although the Divine Power Centipede was powerful, it was too low level. Jade Archive Xiaohua knew that there was no inheritance of the Divine Power Centipede in the Fey race. Woo! The Herculean centipede seemed to be very happy. The antennae in front of its head waved rapidly. Jade Archive Xiaohua's heart moved. He smiled and said, "Your primordial spirit is relatively weak. Even if you split it into yin and yang, I'm afraid you can't compare to other demonic beasts. How about this? Since the Dragon Hall's Grand Elder can use the Dragon Cleansing Liquid to repair his primordial spirit, I'll give you some Dragon Cleansing Liquid as well. Let's see if you can have some good fortune. As he spoke, Jade Archive Xiaohua raised his hand and grabbed. Several drops of Dragon Cleansing Liquid fell on the Divine Power Centipede's body. Zzz. With a burst of crackling sounds, the Dragon Cleansing Liquid entered the Divine Power Centipede's carapace. Strands of dragon patterns faintly appeared. The Divine Power Centipede let out a low roar and its carapace quickly curled up. A wave of dragon chi enveloped the Divine Power Centipede. Oh right. There's still dragon worship and the strange insect. Seeing the changes in the Divine Power Centipede, Xiaohua's heart moved. He sent the Divine Power Centipede near dragon worship and the strange insect's carapace. After the Divine Power Centipede evolved, it would be able to use it. Since everyone has their own fortune, this old man will also have to work hard. Jade Archive Xiaohua looked around the space. At this time, the space was already 3 million li wide. It was even bigger than when it was in the blood pool of gods and devils. Jade Archive Xiaohua's slightly proud voice sounded like thunder in the entire space. His figure gradually disappeared. Xiaohua's mind left the space. He didn't dare to rest and immediately closed his eyes to meditate. After an unknown amount of time, the sky gradually darkened. The sky was filled with dense red clouds. In the dark night sky, the Pegasus flying chariot's pure white brilliance became even more dazzling. It was like a meteor streaking across the sky. Suddenly, Xiaohua, who was meditating with his eyes closed, opened his eyes. His divine sense swept forward like a hurricane. Kacha! High up in the sky, a bolt of lightning flashed, illuminating the space within a radius of dozens of miles. What appeared along with the lightning was a continuous stretch of black clouds. These black clouds were connected to one another, like a mountain range, and like the waves of the sea. Woo! A gale suddenly rose, covering the sky as it rolled towards the earth. However, before this lightning and hurricane could fully display their might, a muffled humph sound was heard. It was like someone yawned in the air. The space within a few hundred li stopped moving forward. Then, within 1,000 li, countless light shadows fell, penetrating the heaven and earth. In this light shadow, the space was distorted. Fragrant flowers floated out from the void. Layers of noble qi condensed into pearls, sprinkling light and darkness over 1,000 li. Fu Jiwen was a little late to react. Seeing all kinds of strange phenomena, he hurriedly stood up from the flying chariot. The dots of runes gushed out from his body and turned into armor. Immortal Palace's inspector? Xiaohua narrowed his eyes. His divine sense swept out like lightning. However, after crossing 1,000 li, it was blocked by the light shadow. Inside the light shadow, the law chain swam more arrogantly than pythons and dragons. How could Xiaohua not know that this was the Immortal Palace's inspector? However, when a crisp sound rang out, Xiaohua knew that he was wrong. Because in the flying flowers, a small winding path appeared. A female official dressed in palace attire gracefully walked over. The female official's voice rang out, "Husband Fu, are you all right? Isn't this the female official by An who returned to the Immortal Palace?" Wife. Fu Jiwen was dumbstruck. He really didn't expect that the one who appeared in such a big battle array between heaven and earth was actually his wife. This concubine by An greets Taoist Master Xiao. Bai An only said one sentence to Fu Jiwen before turning her head. She stood in the air and respectfully saluted. Then, she said to Xiaohua. Xiaohua stepped out of the flying chariot. He narrowed his eyes and looked behind Bai An. In the light shadow, a flower-covered huiting appeared. This huiting was so abrupt. However, in the sea of flowers that stretched for several hundred li, it was so elegant. A small path leading to a secluded place appeared in the middle of the flowers. Flowers fell on the small path, like broken glass. The petals withered, giving birth to an indescribable melancholy for no reason. No need for formalities. Xiaohua's gaze couldn't penetrate the sea of flowers. He simply retracted his gaze and looked at Baian thoughtfully. My master is waiting inside huiting. Spiritual Master Xiao, please. Baian didn't say any more nonsense. She stepped aside and said with a smile. Xiaohua was somewhat enlightened. He looked at Fu Jiwen on the flying chariot and said with a smile, "Could it be that you're here to propose marriage? Your master is really a wonderful person." He, spiritual master will naturally know when you go." Bian blushed and replied with a smile. "All right." Xiaohua landed on the small path with large strides and said, "I just returned from Dragon Island. It just so happens that I have some treasures. If it's used as a betrothal gift, it'll be worth it." However, Xiaohua walked a few steps and didn't see Bian following him. He turned his head and said somewhat strangely, "Bian, you're not coming?" Bian slightly tilted her head and replied, "This concubine is shy. Spiritual master, please go." Haha, Xiaohua laughed and stepped into the flower path. The flowers on the left side were like thousands of swaying hearts, waiting for the right person to pick them. Xiaohua walked through the flower path and arrived in front of Huiting. He saw the moonlight and candlelight flickering in Huiting but didn't see anyone. He didn't find it strange and stepped into Huiting. Huiting was still the same Huiting and the red candles were still the same red candles. However, another person stood up from the jade chair behind the stone table. Xian? Xiaohua was dumbstruck. He looked at the picturesque beautiful woman in palace attire in disbelief and cried out in surprise. "How come it's you? How come it's not me?" Xian's eyes flashed with craftiness. She asked back, "Could it be that there's only the little monk Tipu and not Princess Xian? Xiaohua looked at this little girl who had never expressed her feelings but had already been engraved in his heart. From time to time, she would smile beautifully in his mind. He replied with a bitter smile, "My imagination is really limited. I really didn't expect. You're actually the one Bian talked about. And some princess. I didn't expect it either." Xian smiled more brilliantly than the hundreds of flowers outside Huiting. "The little monk Tipu is Xiaohua. I also didn't expect Xiaohua to be the famous Zhenren Xiao of the hidden immortal continent. I didn't intend to lie to you." Xiaohua's explanation was a little weak. "I was just afraid of bringing you trouble." "I'm not afraid of trouble." Xian said, "You're the one who's afraid of trouble." "Okay." Xiaohua was helpless. He raised his finger and pointed at his heart, saying, "I've already apologized countless times in my heart. Unfortunately, you can't hear it." "Loquacious." Xian curled her lips slightly and said disdainfully, "You're a little monk with a glib tongue. I won't believe you." "Then you should practice the mind connection of the Buddhism sect." Xiaohua laughed. "With your identity, Mahavairakana will definitely teach you personally." "Tisk." Xian sneered. "Men don't say what they think. Even if I'm proficient in the mind connection, I'm afraid I can't hear what you think." Xiaohua blinked his eyes and scratched his head with his hand, as if he was thinking hard. After a moment he asked curiously, "I don't seem to have been to Jianghu country?" "Humph. Good thing you didn't go." Xian snorted. "If you had gone, I wouldn't have come." He. Xiaohua smiled. "What are you laughing at? Where's Li Jing?" Seeing Xiaohua's evil smile, Xian stamped her feet and asked. The smile on Xiaohua's face disappeared. She looked straight into Xian's eyes and said word by word, "On Cast Love Mountain, one's heart is broken." Hiss. Xian was a little surprised. She sucked in a breath of cold air and unconsciously shook her head. Fairy Jing is indeed a decisive person. Admirable, admirable. You came just to tell me this. Xiaohua rubbed his nose and asked with a bitter smile. Of course not. Xian's gaze was gentle. She pointed at the jade chair beside the stone table and said, "Take a seat first." After Xiaohua sat down, Xian waved her sleeve and a few plates appeared beside the red candles on the stone table. There were peaches of immortality, mutant fruits, a jade pot, and 2 wine cups. Chapter 40-55. This is the famous peaches of immortality of the Immortal Palace. You can try it. Xian sat down, picked up the jade pot, and slowly poured out 2 cups of clear wine. he said warmly. Empress Immortal Elixir was made from these peaches of immortality. Xiaohua naturally didn't care about immortal elixirs. However, seeing how attentive Xian was, he still took one and took a bite. When the peach melted into spiritual liquid and entered his stomach, Xiaohua praised. It is indeed the legendary peaches of immortality. It lives up to its name. If you like it, you can eat it all. Xian was delighted and pushed the jade plate to Xiaohua. That won't do. I still want to try the imperial wine of the Immortal Palace. Xiaohua smiled and reached for the wine cup. Unexpectedly, Xian hurriedly blocked him and said unnaturally, Don't be in such a hurry. Tell me what you've been doing all this time. Damn. Xiaohua held his forehead and said, You even know about Fairy Jing. What else do you not know? I know. I want to hear you tell me in detail. Xian said coquettishly. Xiaohua looked around and said in a low voice, If we talk, can others hear us? Don't worry. Xian said with a smile. Even the Immortal Emperor can't hear us. How is that possible? Xiaohua didn't believe it. If you can find me so easily, how can the Immortal Emperor not know? Don't forget what we got in the Xianxia Palace. Xian reminded him softly. Not bad. Xiaohua understood and gave him a thumbs up. You're really something. You took that thing and eloped to the lower realm. Bah! Xian spat. What do you mean eloped? Tell me. Xiaohua knew that Xian only wanted to listen to him speak, so there was no need to pay too much attention to the specific details. Thus, he roughly explained what happened after they parted. Xian held his cheeks and looked at Xiaohua for a long time. It was unknown whether he was listening, watching. Under the red candles on the left and right, Xian's beautiful face became even more focused, causing Xiaohua's heart to be intoxicated. Xiaohua. After Xiaohua finished, Xian came back to his senses. There was some panic in his eyes. He raised his wine cup and said, It's been hard on you. Come, let me toast you. All right. Xiaohua raised his wine cup and lightly clinked it with Xian's wine cup before placing it on his lips. The slightly viscous wine gave off a mellow fragrance that made one feel as if they were floating when smelling it. Xiaohua slightly raised his head and poured the imperial wine into his stomach. A faint floral fragrance emerged from his mouth and tongue. I brewed this wine myself. It's not some imperial wine. It doesn't have a name, and it doesn't have any special effects. Xian put down the wine cup, looked at Xiaohua and said in a low voice, Are you disappointed? No. Xiaohua replied with certainty, Even if it's clear water to be able to watch you drink it, it's the world's #1 spiritual wine. Xiaohua. Xian bit his lips. His face was red as he stared straight into Xiaohua's eyes. Xian. Xiaohua also looked at Xian. His gaze was like a clear spring, flowing into each other's hearts. At this time, silence spoke louder than words. For a full meal's time, neither of them opened their mouths, nor did they move their fingers. In the end, Xian raised his left hand from the stone table and raised it in the air. At the same time, Xiaohua, who had a tacit understanding, also raised his right hand. The two people's hands slowly touched each other. A cold and delicate fragrance came from Xian's hand. The two people looked at each other and their palms touched each other. Suddenly, the red candle seemed to be blown by the wind and jumped slightly. Between the light and the darkness in Huating, Xian and Xiaohua opened their hands almost at the same time, and their 5 fingers clasped together tacitly. Xiaohua. Xian's voice was close to a moan, low and trembling. I was worried that your strength would increase too fast and attract the attention of the Immortal Emperor. But now you're the Dragon Master of the Dragon Tribe. I'm afraid that my Immortal Palace won't dare to touch you at will, so I'm relieved. Come. I'll toast you again. Good. Seeing that Xian was reluctant to let go of his left hand and only used his right hand to fill 2 cups of wine, Xiaohua's heart melted. He raised his cup and said, This toast is for you. Tell me about your life. Xian calmly finished drinking and put down the wine cup. He clasped Xiaohua's 10 fingers with one hand and propped his cheek with the other. He looked at Xianxia with somewhat blurred eyes and told him about his life. Xianxia's experience was naturally not as rich as Xianxia's, but those palace fights also made Xianxia's hair stand on end. In the end, Xian said, "Also, after my Immortal Palace's Heaven's Choice Assembly, the Immortal Emperor and Mahavairocana have reached a tacit understanding. The so-called war between Immortals and Buddhas has been eliminated. You're now the Dragon Master, but don't be in the limelight too much. Beware of being noticed by the Immortal Palace again." Ah! Xianxia was shocked. How is that possible? The war between Immortals and Buddhas is imminent. Not to mention the Confucian cultivators of the hidden Immortal continent sharpening their swords. Even the Buddhist sect of the Elysium world is rubbing their fists. How can they stop fighting just like that? You men only know how to fight and kill. Xian's fingers moved slightly and fiercely grabbed Xianxia. He rebuked, "Once the war between Immortals and Buddhas starts, who knows how many cultivators will die? Grand Mist Ancestor is adding fuel to the fire from behind, wanting to gain some benefits for the Tao sect." Could it be that you also have the same idea? I'm wrongly accused. Sophistry is like sweet talk. Xianxia has never lacked it. He opened his mouth and said, "I just feel that things happen too suddenly." Previously in the God-Devil blood pool, the Buddhist sect and the Confucian cultivator clan fought fiercely. How can the Immortal Emperor and Mahavairocana ignore the feelings of the two clans and compromise like this? I also don't know the specific reason. Xian said with a smile, but the so-called compromise is nothing more than the satisfaction of common interests or a common threat that forced the two sides to join hands. And the result of this compromise is that the Buddhist sect can preach in my hidden Immortal continent, and my Confucian cultivators can also clear up doubts in the Elysium world. In this way, both sides' interests can be satisfied, so why not? The problem is... Xianxia frowned. The Buddhist sect in Yu Province's Longevity Town had great results. They took the initiative, so why did they suddenly stop? Instead, they let the Confucian cultivators enter the Elysium world? Mahavairocana wouldn't be so easy to talk to, right? Of course it's not that simple. Xian explained, "This compromise has a process, it needs a test." Oh? What test? Tell me in detail. Xianxia was surprised, but then he said with a smile, "Of course if it involves the secret of the Immortal Palace, then there's no need to say." Xian's left thumb stuck up. Xianxia's right thumb also stuck up. The two of them seemed to be playing. Their thumbs stuck together and turned slightly. Xian's gaze became gentle again as he said with a smile, "Before the Heaven's Choice Assembly, of course it's a secret. But now, the Elysium scripture-seeking plan has already begun, so it's not a secret anymore." Elysium scripture-seeking plan? Xianxia was slightly stunned. What does that mean? Is it going to the Elysium world to ask for Buddhist scriptures? Mahavairocana had just comprehended the Tripitaka Mahayana Buddhist scriptures. It seems like ordinary monks can also condense relics. His request is that if we want to stop the war, we must allow him to explain the Mahayana Buddhist scriptures in the hidden Immortal continent. Xian replied, "But our Immortal Palace naturally can't agree so easily. Our request is that there must be a bodhisattva who can go to the Great Lightning Tune Temple to bring the scriptures to the hidden Immortal continent. That's why it's called Elysium Scripture-Seeking Plan." Isn't that simple? Xianxia said with a smile, "Just find a bodhisattva to go to the Great Lightning Tune Temple and bring the scriptures over." Hee. Do you think everyone else is more stupid than you? Xian pursed his lips and said with a smile. The moment Mahavairocana's suggestion came out, the Immortal Palace went into an uproar. All the Immortal Palace officials opposed it. However, the Immortal Emperor's decree had already been decided, so they racked their brains to increase the difficulty of finding this bodhisattva. In the end, they finally came up with a method that was almost impossible. Let's hear it. Xianxia was surprised. What kind of impossible method is it? First of all, this bodhisattva must be recorded in the Elysium world. Xian seemed to take out something she liked to share with her beloved. Her beautiful face smiled until her dimples appeared. Secondly, this bodhisattva must depart from the immortal town in the Yu province of the hidden Immortal continent. First, he must go to the Great Lightning Tune Temple in the Elysium world and then return to the immortal town. Thirdly, this bodhisattva must preach the Confucian scriptures in the Elysium world. When he comes back from the Elysium world, he must preach the Mahayana Buddhist scriptures in the hidden immortal continent. This doesn't seem to be difficult. I can do it. Xiaohua asked in confusion. How is this impossible? Don't be anxious. Xian rebuked. The most important thing is that this bodhisattva cannot have any Buddhist or Confucian cultivation. Or it could be said that he cannot have any cultivation. Moreover, not only can this bodhisattva not borrow any magic power in the process of preaching the scriptures in the Elysium world, he also cannot borrow any magic power in the process of going from the Elysium world to the hidden immortal continent. How is this possible? Xiaohua was flabbergasted. How can a bodhisattva who only chants scriptures and recites Buddhist scriptures without any magic power come to the immortal town? Even if he came to the immortal town, how can he smoothly return to the Great Lightning Tune Temple in the current situation? Difficult. 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 In the process of preaching the scriptures in the Elysium world, whether it is the immortal emperor, the Mahavairakana world revered or the great saint of the demon clan, none of them can directly make a move. Otherwise, the Elysium world revered will be considered a failure. Why is there a great saint of the demon clan? Xiaohua was a little puzzled. Xian ignored Xiaohua's question and said, if there is really a great difficulty, there seems to be some flexibility, but I am not too sure about the specific boundaries. I am curious. Xiaohua didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This war is disadvantageous to the immortal palace. The Mahavairakana world revered finally compromised. Why is the immortal palace still making so many difficult problems? Isn't this driving them away? Chapter 4056. Even the immortal emperor has his difficulties. Xian says faintly, don't tell me what you did in the God-fiend blood pool and Dragon Island wasn't for this. Then what about Vairocana Buddha? Why would he agree? Xiaohua asks with a smile. Xian also frowns. Yeah, when I heard about this, I was also worried for the immortal emperor. I thought that Vairocana Buddha would not agree no matter what, or even lower the conditions. Who knew that Vairocana Buddha did not refute at all and immediately agreed. This made all the officials in the immortal palace dumbfounded, feeling that they had fallen into Vairocana Buddha's scheme and smashed their own feet with a rock. Could it be that Vairocana Buddha had already planned this? Don't forget, Vairocana Buddha is. At this point, Xiaohua laughs himself. Vairocana Buddha has the art of karma. How could the immortal emperor not know how to predict the future? Xian nods. Sutra seeking in extreme bliss was naturally proposed by Vairocana Buddha. If he had plans, that would be normal. But the problem is, how can there be such a bodhisattva? Even if there is such a bodhisattva, the entire sutra seeking in extreme bliss is definitely not just seeking sutras. Xiaohua can naturally see the strangeness in it. Xian's thumb is still twirling with Xiaohua as it replies. Of course. Sutra seeking in extreme bliss is just a gimmick. There will definitely be many difficulties along the way. Not only will my 100 Family Association obstruct it and prevent it from being completed normally, even some heavenly king protectors of the Buddhist sect will think of ways to cause trouble. There are also 1,000 demons, sacred realm demons. Xiaohua reminds, those great sages will probably not watch from the side and will not allow the immortal emperor and Vairocana Buddha's plan to be completed. Not just them. Xian says with a smile. You Dao sect cultivators will definitely not let this bodhisattva safely walk to the Great Lightning Tune Temple in extreme bliss, right? It has nothing to do with me. I will immediately go into seclusion when I return. I will not care about anything. Xiaohua raises his left hand and replies solemnly. It's best that you don't get involved. Xian replied. The sutra seeking in nirvana is also a process of elimination. Many forces will show up. The Heavenly Palace and the Big Layin Temple will do their best to protect this bodhisattva. But if anyone shows up, they will definitely strike with lightning. Who knows, maybe the Grand Mist Ancestor will suffer a great loss this time. If that's the case. Xiaohua looked at Xian with a smile and said with a double meaning, do I have a great chance? Xian naturally understood the meaning behind Xiaohua's words. He unconsciously blushed and said in a low voice, This I don't know. Seeing Xianxia so shy, where was the arrogance of a princess of the Immortal Palace? Xiao Hua's heart skipped a beat. He hadn't been close to a woman for several hundred years, so his mental fortitude was inevitably weakened. However, when he felt Xiao Hua's palm burning hot, Xian immediately jumped in fright. He used his left hand to pinch Xiao Hua's right hand, wanting to pull his hand out. How could Xiao Hua let her have her way? He hurriedly tightened his grip. Xian whipped a few times but didn't have any effect. He glared at Xiao Hua and hurriedly changed the topic. However, Xiao Hua, don't underestimate Mahavairakana's methods. Do you still remember the little monk Ci Hui? Of course. Xiao Hua nodded. Is he already Manjushri Bodhisattva? Yes. He's now in Yu Province's Longevity Town. He received Mahavairakana's Buddhist edict to find a sutra seeker in Yu Province. Xiao Hua was even more baffled. Why didn't Manjushri Bodhisattva go to Western Paradise to find a Buddhist disciple? Isn't this giving up what's near at hand to seek what's far away? Xian rolled her eyes at Xiao Hua and said, You're stupid. Longevity Town is the starting point of Western Paradise's sutra seeker. Moreover, Mahavairakana has already issued a Buddhist edict several decades ago. Every temple in Western Paradise must send a disciple to Longevity Town to worship Buddha. If a suitable disciple can be found, then wouldn't Western Paradise's Buddhist disciple need to travel thousands of miles to hidden Immortal mainland? Why do I feel that there's something fishy about this? Xiao Hua said thought-provoking. Mahavairakana must have done something. I haven't found out what he did yet. Xian said with a smile. However, there seems to be some clues about the sutra seeker in Western Paradise. Ah! Xiao Hua was speechless. This person must have been arranged by Mahavairakana. You're wrong. Xian said with a smile. Mahavairakana doesn't know about this. It was discovered by Immortal Emperor when he used the clear sky mirror to search hidden Immortal mainland. However, since Immortal Emperor knows, then Mahavairakana also knows. Who's this monk? How can he be so powerful? Even I want to go and take a look. Xiao Hua didn't care about it in his heart. He just followed Xian's words and asked casually. This monk came from Western Paradise's Golden Mountain Temple. His Buddhist name seems to be Chuanzong. Boom! Xian's words hit Xiao Hua like a thunderbolt. Xiao Hua's expression became sluggish. His thumb that was moving along with Xian's thumb also became empty. Xian immediately felt that something was wrong. She stopped and asked curiously, What's wrong? You know this monk? Xiao Hua looked at Xian's pure face and said with a bitter smile, Don't forget, I've been to Western Paradise. I've really been to Golden Mountain Temple. However, I didn't say that there was a monk called Chuanzong in Golden Mountain Temple. He's called Chuanzong. This monk is the disciple of Great Master Nirvana. Xian suddenly realized and said with a smile, He seems to be a disciple of Golden Mountain Temple after you and I left Western Paradise. How could you have seen him that day? Xiao Hua was somewhat absent-minded. He was almost certain that this Chuanzong was Zhang Luer. After all, although Zhang Luer had been in meditation for hundreds of years, he didn't have any psychokinesis. However, he still had some doubts. If Chuanzong was Zhang Luer, why didn't he cultivate Buddhism? An ordinary Buddhist trekked from Western Paradise to hidden Immortal mainland. That kind of difficulty and danger was definitely not something that ordinary people could imagine. How could Xian not see Xiao Hua's absent-mindedness? She asked tentatively. Could it be? You have some karma with this little monk? Xiao Hua collected his thoughts and shook his head. I still don't know who this monk is. There's no need to talk about karma now. However, if there is some karma this matter, be careful. Xian said with concern. Anyone can seek benefits in the sutra seeking extreme bliss. Only Taoist cultivators can't. And I know. Xiao Hua said with a smile. I'm also a Tipu. You're so cunning. Xian rebuked. Xiao Hua looked at the empty wine cups on the stone table and said with a smile, How can 2 cups of newly brewed wine be enough? With that, Xiao Hua raised the pot with his left hand and poured the clear wine into the 2 empty wine cups. Xianxia's eyes showed a slight pain, showing her helplessness. She pulled her left hand out of Xiao Hua's hand. Xiao Hua naturally didn't loosen his grip, but Xian shook her head slightly and tightened her grip. Xiao Hua didn't dare to stay any longer and loosened his grip. Xian's left hand took out a jade eye from her bosom and said with a forced smile, "Xiao Hua, I know you are looking for the real refining method of the wishful rod. This is the refining method I asked for from the master of Jade Pure Palace. It also records the location of some magnetism in hidden Immortal mainland. I hope it will be useful to you." "Oh, thank you very much." Xiao Hua beamed with joy. He took the jade eye and was about to look at it. Xian stopped him and said, "You and I don't need to thank each other. You can take it and look at it later." Xiao Hua took back the jade eye and seemed to have thought of something. He asked softly, "I still have a question about the 5 cheese unifications." Xian's eyebrows slightly moved. She lowered her head and didn't look at Xiao Hua. She said, "Presumably, you have already met the great scholar of true Confucianism in the God-Devil blood pool and obtained a certificate of true Confucianism. This true Confucianism is an organization whose purpose is to find the real cultivation purpose of Confucianism. Because today's Confucianism is no longer the Confucianism of the past, the path of cultivation seems to have some deviations. Many ambitious people in the Immortal Palace and the 100 schools of Confucianism have already seen the hidden dangers, so they formed such an organization. Although the true Confucian hasn't found the true purpose of Confucian cultivation, we've already discovered that the true cultivation techniques of Confucian cultivation are recorded in the 5 heavenly tomes. These 5 heavenly tomes aren't complete heavenly tomes. One of them is half a heavenly tomes. Of course, even the 4.5 heavenly tomes are nowhere to be found. No one knows where these heavenly tomes are scattered in the hidden Immortal continent, the pure land of ultimate bliss, or the 1,000 demons' sacred realm. Perhaps it is the will of heaven, or perhaps it is man-made. The true meaning of Confucianism has already been hidden in the dust of time. Oh right, that certificate is not only a certificate, it is also a life-saving amulet. If you encounter a great danger, you can use your true qi to crush it. It will give you an unexpected surprise. While speaking, Xian's eyes unexpectedly have some clear tears. She raised her wine cup and said, "Darling Xiao, come, for your future, let this concubine toast you." Although Xiao Hua felt that Xian's mood was somewhat fluctuating, and he felt that it was inappropriate, he had plenty of time to talk to Xian, so he did not mind. He raised his cup, clinked it and said with a smile, "My future is also your path." Just as Xiao Hua was about to finish the cup in one gulp, Xian suddenly stopped. She raised her hand and extended it to Xiao Hua's cheek. She lightly touched Xiao Hua's skin and said in a low voice, "Xiao Hua, do you think this concubine is too casual? You and I have only met once. Even though we have experienced life and death in the mysterious water palace. But, of course, Xiao Hua was also very surprised. After all, women were not like men, especially women of Confucianism. Which one of them did not emphasize the 3 obedience and 4 virtues and not look at indecent things? As a princess of the Immortal Palace, Xian could not indulge her feelings even more. Xian's private meeting with him in the lower realm was indeed a great taboo in the Immortal Palace. "I think you must have your own reasons," Xiao Hua replied after some consideration. "Moreover, if you don't say it, how can I know your heart? This is an opportunity given to us by the heavens." Phew! Xian seemed to let out a long breath, as if she had put down a heavy burden. A charming smile appeared on her face, and she raised her wine cup and drank it up. Kacha! As Xian's wine cup was emptied, the entire night sky was instantly filled with thunderbolts. It was as if heavy rain was pouring down, and all the tranquility and beauty were completely shattered. Looking at the left side of the Huiting, the brilliant sea of flowers now seemed to be ravaged by thousands of hands, and the petals fell miserably into the flower path. "What's going on?" Xiao Hua was stunned and looked at Xian with some confusion. Xian forced a smile on her face and said, "Darling Xiao, after today's parting, I don't know when we will meet again. You have to cultivate diligently." Kacha! Another thunderbolt struck Huiting. The whole Huiting shook, and the wine pot on the stone table was knocked over. However, the wine pot was already empty, and not a single drop of wine flowed out. Hiss! Xiaohua sucked in a breath of cold air, and finally understood why Xianxia took so long to fill the third cup of wine. Alas! Xiaohua sighed and looked at Xianxia. Why didn't you say so earlier? Sooner or later, we will have to part in the end. Xianxia raised her eyebrows and looked at the large watery clouds in the night sky. There was some bright brilliance at the edge of the watery clouds, as if the light of dawn was about to come. Just like the sky, dawn will come eventually. Xianxia. Looking at Xianxia's eyebrows and the swaying light in the night sky, Xiaohua understood that he couldn't say anything more at this time. He gently held Xianxia's waist, and Xianxia struggled with all her might. However, seeing Xiaohua's lips on her forehead, Xianxia closed her eyes in both pain and happiness. Her hands nervously grasped each other and trembled slightly. However, this trembling suddenly stopped, just like Xianxia's body, which suddenly stiffened. Her tightly closed eyes in Xiaohua's arms suddenly opened, and her eyes were filled with disbelief and surprise. You're tuning in to the Wisdom Diary YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.